On open up the microphone. Arthur, we'll drop it right now. By the way, let me clarify something real fast. I'm put some respect on the name, all right? It is not Mr. Copeland Forbes. It is Mr. Copeland Forbes O.D. Put some, you know what I mean? Splash the thing there. You know what I mean? Splash the thing them. Sir, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me here.
Pleasure indeed. The book is up and running and up and gunning, and I love it. But you know something? Before I dive into the book, I've been having some conversations lately, right? I deem it the other side of the microphone because I talk to the artists a lot. Sometimes it's important we talk to the other side of the microphone. And I've been having conversations about the state of the music and had an episode recently where we're talking about, again, the music. We gripe about the Grammys, we gripe about everything. Gripe about if government should be helping artists in their heyday, their twilights and stuff like that. And we started talking about that. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say, hold on. I'm gonna save this for tonight. So before I even dive into the book, you remember that episode where I was asked, should the government of Jamaica be vested in helping and taking care of artists, reggae artists, dancehall artists, just Jamaican musicians, at all at the twilight of their career? What was your take on that?
The first thing, if the government is going to take up that, they have to take up the entire country. That's number one, right? Because they are not special and different from other people.
Right.
As a matter of fact, entertainers and artists have more opportunities because sometimes what they can earn in one night, it takes an ordinary Jamaican to earn in a whole year, right? And most of the times, most of our artists, no care how much you talk to them about securing themselves by having insurance, policies in place, and a lot of things. They just don't pay that any mind. They just live for today and live for tomorrow. So the government has no obligations to take care of no artist, no matter who they are. Right. Whether the twilight days, early days, or any days. Most of them don't even pay taxes too. Them like to hear the word taxes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so on.
Right.
So people always have this kind of inclination and think that the government has this obligation. The government will help out because I can vest for especially Minister Babsy Grange. I have known her since she was 16 years of age. I think it's not going to Siaga know her longer than me. You knew her when she was 40.
Wow.
And I knew her from she was 16 working on a Chacamo lawn, where the techniques and everybody used to gather and so on. She's just one of the hardest working women I've ever seen in my life, because she has taken up a lot of mantle on her own to help out artists when they are in hardship and certain things reach them, I remember one artist, I'm not going to call the artist's name, but she had to go into her pocket. Her government wasn't even in power at the time. She had to go into her pocket.
Wow.
She and a member of the opposing party.
Wow.
Were very good friends, although they put partisan business aside.
Right.
And the two of them came together and go into their own pocket to give an artist a proper burial because the family, and there was nothing in place for that artist. It was they saved one of the biggest embarrassment because if people have heard about this and which artist it was, it would have looked so bad.
Right.
You see,
so nobody knew. She did that discreetly.
A few people close
knew.
Right. But the masses don't even know. They saw the funeral, they saw everything went through, a lot of them attended and so on. But she preached it, which in her speech in the church, that please, she's begging the artists to put their house in order. Right. While they're alive and earning money. It's one artist for the past 10, 15 years. I've already done that. Josie Wales, Josie Wales take care of all that. If they don't want him family, I have to walk around with no hat or anything, to get help from anybody and so on. And I remember even Roy Shirley, when he died in England and his body was sitting there for months and months and they said send it home and Babsy had to jump in to assist with that. She assists with almost everybody.
Wow.
But she can do that much, and it's not an obligation for her, or any of the government that is in power to take care of that thing. So we're preaching to all the artists. They have an insurance policy in Jamaica, that Java, run by Frankie Campbell, right, where you pay 10,000 Jamaican dollars a year.
That's it.
Right. 10,000 Jamaican dollars is less than 200 US, you know.
Yeah, for the year.
Right, for a whole
This
year.
is not a monthly thing.
No, for the whole year.
Wow.
And that insurance will take care up to $500,000 of expenses. And most of the artists, them don't enjoy that. And I see them on tour sometimes shopping for girls and shopping for friends.
Yeah. Gucci
and
belt.
Yes, and them spend 10 times that amount, you know.
Is that culture though? You think is it culture amongst the artists? Because here's the thing, and I'll say, we've blamed ignorance for a long time, right? And yes, there was a time way back when the information was just not there, and ignorance might have been a factor. But in 2023, they have access to the info, just like you and I have access to the info.
Right.
They know this.
Yes.
So what is it? Is it just a culture thing? What is it with these folks? Why they won't?
I tell you, you see, entertainers, the minute you have to talk about anything to do with death, right? They figure that you're hurrying.
Yeah, you're speaking it into being on
They don't want to talk about that, you know. And I will give you a typical example, which will end up in a laugh, you know. When Bob passed, you know, there was no will or anything in place, so there was a lot of turmoil, you know. I mean, lawyers were making monies, you know, out of it. And during my time, I was managing Peter Tosh at that time, you know. And believe you me, I sat with him one day, and I waited till he was in a very good mood. We were giving jokes and everything.
Right.
And I said to him, Peter, you know, you see what's happening with Baba and thing now. There's no will or nothing in place. So, yeah, man, them things is a mess and thing. I said to him, sir, I think that I should have make a will, you know.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, will, thy will be done. That was the end of that conversation. You know, I don't bother go no further. You know?
So leave it
right there, because I can't read between the lines and don't want to talk about that. So it's a situation with them that when you talk about these things, you know, they don't want to talk about it, you know. I mean, the way let's sing a song, named Burial, like they wrote a song and sing a song named Burial.
Yeah.
I man don't go and no one funeral, them want to come at them funeral and thing. And I see people posting on Facebook many times, I said, why this one didn't go to that one, why Peter didn't go to Bob's funeral, why Bonnie didn't go to Bob's funeral, why the two of them, all these kind of things and so on. But once you get into anything like that, artists just swing away from it. So yeah, but you have to advise them and keep advising them. And those who have ears to ear, you know, it's just that when they're gone, you know, it's not just other people feeling it. Their family have to go around, and the embarrassment, you know, because if I was to tell you some embarrassment that I knew of and was saved from the public eye with some of the artists, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
You know, so I'm pleading to all the artists, while you're here making good money, please put your house in order and get some insurance and things in place so your children can, you know, have a better future.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Copeland Forbes laying it on the line for y'all like it should be. And the truth is, we need to hear this. I appreciate you, you know, expressing these sentiments, because a lot of times I think people hear things over and over. I think they hear it. Sometimes it's the messenger they got a problem with. It's not the message, it's the messenger. And it's not a like versus not like, but there's a respect and a reverence when it comes to the words that comes from you, because you've been there through the turmoil, through the good times, the bad times with many of these artists. You mentioned even Babsy and all the things that she's done. Never met her in person, right? But I know of her and how tight she is with the entertainment fraternity, and how enmeshed she is and you know, immersed in it. But every time something goes left, as with life, there's always a scapegoat, no matter what the circumstance. If an artist's album no sell, if the artist's flight cancel, me and them talk about Babsy.
Yeah.
Why?
You know,
Why?
I keep saying that, you know, because even so in the last year, there's so many things that comes up. Once it has anything to do with music, Babsy's name is going to be called. Sometimes I have to tell some of the people, she has nothing to do with that, you know. She has 4 ministries under her belt.
Right.
You know, it's not just one, you know. And sometimes I wonder how she manages, you know, because when she leave home in the morning, you know, sometimes she take down to the office 4 different outfits, because she have to go to different functions from one to the other and thing, you know, the same day, you know. So her name is always gonna be called, and she tries her best to help out and solve the problems, no matter what. You know, I remember when a certain artist was to be buried, and the family came down from overseas and said they don't have no money.
Wow.
we don't have no money.
But they all came down for
Yeah, 15 of them from overseas, and everybody said them don't have no money. Some of them went to Negril and spent all 5 days vacation.
but not have the money.
And don't have no money.
Right. Negril not free.
Right. That's exactly what Michael Barnett said.
Right.
Negril is not a free place. And she had to run around. Her party wasn't even in power at the time, It was the opposing party.
Right.
And she had to run around to help out with a hat, trying to get money. I'm thinking she even had to write a letter to Performing Rights Society overseas to get some advance at that time for the artists, to make sure that the artists get a comfortable burial, and the embarrassment didn't go to the public, So she will always try to put her hands in to help in whatever way. Look at even Toots. When Toots passed, the family was kind of divided, And one set of the family wanted him to be buried in Clarendon, Maypen, where he comes from, because they have a lot there, and the other family was saying different.
Right.
And the day when the funeral is supposed to be at Dovecot, I remember Jackie Jackson, who is the bass player in the Maytals band. He was sitting there in Dovecot, and the whole of them waiting, and the body wasn't there.
Wow.
And there were some problems, documents to be signed and didn't sign. And then Babsy had to jump in, and then she was able to get him to be buried at Heroes Park. Well, guess what happened now? I know a lot of people was wondering, because Heroes Park is only for statesmen, governor general, and these people. But however, Dennis Brown ended up there.
Right.
And he ended up there not the right way. But under certain circumstances. And they had to stand their ground since Dennis, because people were lobbying to say Gregory should be buried there, Janet should be buried there, Alton should be buried there, and all these things. But she had to stand her ground. But when Tustin came, she helped out in the final analysis, where she had to go to Charles Hyatt. Charles Hyatt had a spot there, but he passed and he was buried somewhere else. So she went to Charles Hyatt family and asked them if they would give up that spot for Toots. And they agreed. And that's how Toots ended up there. Because I know some people out in music land don't know. And they may have the wrong perception, because the next legend pass away. People will say,
so how comes?
So she tries every way to help out in every aspect, and I have to give her credit, she just work hard.
Wow, big up. Like I said, I've never met her. I'd love to sit down with her and have a convo, but that what I do know is that if I'm on CD scratch, a Babsy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
I'm just saying, if you don't play in the car, Babsy Grange. This book talks about your experiences. I've said this to people before. When it comes to writing stuff, anything that's not a fictional material, your story in your life doesn't include just your experiences. Everything you walk and talk about, for some reason, will include somebody else.
Yes.
When you decided to put this book together, was there any concerns about what folks would think about what their depiction would be, or their story? Because somehow, somewhere, their story is being told because it's aligned with yours.
Right.
Was that a concern at all?
Well, it's funny, when I decided to do it was in 2002, when I was celebrating my 40th anniversary. And I was putting a tour together titled One Love Tour. And I had Toots as headline, I had Luciano, Israel Vibration, Morgan Heritage, Tony Rebel, and I had sound system too, I had Stone Love carried on that tour. So I wanted a dancehall artist now. So I was searching around, and I realized that Tonto Metro and Devante had a song that was getting massive airplay on the R&B station, Everyone's Falling in Love. So I went up to Shocking Vibes to talk to the management, and I ran into Clyde McKenzie, who was part of the management team, and Howard McIntosh was there. But every day when I go there, he's so busy on the phone dealing with Beanie Man stuff, because Beanie Man was hot then up there. So I'm sitting there talking about some of the stories right, while he's on the phone with Howard McIntosh and some other people, and everybody was intrigued with the stories, and after a few days, one of them, Howard Mac, said to me, why you don't just put this in a book? these stories I'm hearing, boy, you know, I mean, it's not just about you, about the artists you have worked with and some of these things that actually happen, and I could talk about them. And then one evening, you know what, Mark, let's come with a tape recorder and say, I'm going to give this a jump start. And I started to tape it, you know, and then I just decided on putting it together.
Yeah.
Now, I knew that the book would not just be one of the regular books.
Yeah.
Because it's not about me alone, because if it was just me alone, you know, it couldn't work, because I've worked with 98% of the artists in the entertainment fraternity, you know, and I've had experience, in-depth experience, because I started out even working with Peter. I didn't start as a manager, I started working with Peter as a personal assistant, you know, right? Where I am very close to him. I see everything that goes down, prepare his food, his clothes, make sure he's on time to do all this stuff and everything like that.
Right.
You know, and then I moved from then on to a road manager, tour manager, and then manager.
Right.
So coming up the ranks, you get to know these artists inside out. Their personal life, you're not just their manager. You're managing not just their career, but their personal life sometimes. Because when the baby mothers can't find them,
you them find.
Yes, you know what I mean? It's me them find, and I have to solve the problem.
And you have got to tell Lino, say, yo, the man there at church.
You know, so you know, so you get to know so much closely when you're filling out forms for them to get visas. And their personal thing now, like, you know, how many children you have, if you own a house, if you own the land, so all these things.
Intricately involved in all of this stuff.
So you are so close to all of that now, so you know them inside out. So I decided, okay, this is going to be not just a book, but like an encyclopedia where I'm going to talk about, yes, myself, you know, how I got into the business, the artists them that I worked with, the opportunities that a lot of them got, and some of them who messed it up. You know, I'm not going to hide those, because I want the young ones to know about this, so they don't come and make the same mistakes that some of them has made, you know, the earlier ones had made. So I decided to highlight, you know, a lot of these things, and I was blessed and be privileged that most of these things that you hear people talk about, I was there in person. Right, that I could really talk about it. People used to say to me that I have a memory like an elephant. Because, I could go all the way back into the 60s and remember everything. Step by step. I think I'm blessed with that, you know, because this book don't even have 50% of the things them, you know, right?
So is there going to be another one?
Of course, and another one after that, and documentary. You know, when we put this together, a lot of stuff was left out. Because I didn't go into some of the people's personal life. Right? But you have to talk about the errors that some of them make, the grave errors. Like even when the Wailers, right, and the breakup. I know everything how that went, you know, and people.
But that's not covered in here.
Some of it is inside. Yeah, most of it is inside there. You know, like okay, when they signed it to Island Records, right? They signed under the moniker of Bob Marley and the Wailers. People have it until this very day that is Chris Blackwell break up the group and put Bob up front and call it Bob Marley and the Wailers. No, right? They've been using that name from the days of Coxsone. When they were at Coxsone. If you can remember when Coxsone put out their first album, he didn't say the Wailers, he said the Wailing Wailers. Right? And one of the main reasons for that is Coxsone was associated with the farmer program then, and he was traveling a lot. And there was a group named the Wailers already out there from in there. Here's a picture of them.
Wow.
You see? A group named the Wailers.
Wow.
From in the 50s.
Right.
So Coxsone must have knew this. So instead of saying the Wailers, he called them the Wailing Wailers, right? And on top of that, he called them Bob Marley and the Wailers, Bob and the Wailers, right? Because, I mean...
But it was never just the Wailers.
No. You see? So that is one of the myths that people need to understand, because people get the misunderstanding of the name, right?
Is it a misunderstanding, or people like to hold on to... We want to create things. I think sometimes there's no fun without the drama. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's too smooth. Let's throw a monkey wrench in it. Somebody must be responsible. And a man like Chris Blackwell, who is not one of us, has got to be up to no good. So let's just throw him in the mix. You ever think sometimes it's situations like those because people can't just make things up out of thin air.
Well, that's the thing, you know. We have that kind of way where we want to blame somebody instead of really blaming ourselves, or find out the facts before you run up your mouth.
Right.
That even when they went and they signed with Island, they signed under the moniker of Bob Marley and the Wailers. Here's a copy of the contract to Bob Marley and the Wailers up the top there.
Jano.
Right? So, and each of them names, see each of them signature down here, signed, right? So they signed a recording contract under the name of Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Right.
So it's not Chris Black will give them the name the Wailers, right? What they should have done now is that they have a registered company named Tough Gong Records.
Right.
They should have signed Tough Gong Records for the services of the Wailers. Because your company, a registered company that they pay tax to and everything registered in Jamaica, right? All the different things, if a man passed away, would have already be in place.
Right.
So instead of signing directly with the company, you know, they should have signed through their recording.
Through their recording company.
The company, right? And that's a lot of things that some of the artists didn't know. But, you know, they made that error, but they didn't really have a proper manager with that kind of experience. It was when Don Taylor took over Bob's career after Bunny left. Because Bunny left in 1973. Right?
So at this period of time, when we're talking about Bob and your relationship with Peter, how old were you at the time?
Me, this was 1973 when I started working.
So you're still a young man.
Yeah.
Still a young. So hold on. Because that's the thing, you know, is like what amazed me when I first started researching you, right? Jamaica, we have a thing called ageism, right? We use it for good, we use it for bad. And by that I mean we don't respect nobody when our elders, for lack of a better word, right? Politicians, that's why it was kind of strange when them get like a Andrew as a prime minister because them too young. Them used to an older person.
Yeah.
But to see you as immersed with these artists that somewhere you're senior and somewhere your peers, age-wise, and then that respect that you were able to garner from these artists, where did that come from? And I really, as I was going through this thing, I said to myself, what is that day when Copeland Forbes decides, say, I'm going to be an artist manager? Talk to me, because we're going to go back to even when you were, because I didn't even know you were a performer. I had no idea that you had a stage life and all that thing there, right?
Yeah.
But people need to get this book. And as I said, y'all need to get the book. I personally feel that every single solitary school, especially schools that are affiliated with music, right? And any artist, any young person that has any musical aspirations in Jamaica in particular, need to read this book. The government need to put this in a curriculum, right? But that's just my thing and I digress. Let's start at this point. When did you decide you're going to become an artist manager?
All right. I didn't start out as an artist manager. So we go back to the 60s now.
Yeah.
I actually started out the 15th of December 1962, right? Where I was in the Boy Scout. The Boy Scout played a great role in my life, even when I got into the entertainment fraternity. It molded me, gave me all the opportunity to help me to be self-reliant and resourceful. So while I was in the Boy Scout, we formed a group named the Harmony Cats, right? 4 of us, including my brother Alfred Forbes. And, you know, we were trained to blow the mouth organ, you know, and we performed at birthday parties and all the functions, the official functions that were, you know, being held within the Boy Scout and outside. I joined the 9 different youth clubs at the time, so even youth clubs we were performing there and then. Now in my scout troop, right, there were a lot of people who turned out to be the great entertainers. Jackie Jackson,
wow,
bass player of Toots and the Maytals Band, was a member of All Saints Scout Troop.
Wow.
Right. Tabby Diamonds, the lead singer of the Mighty Diamonds, was a member of the Scout Troop. Right. And then you have Bagger Walker, right, bass player at Studio One, was a member of the Boy Scout. Right. You have the Techniques, the entire original Techniques with Slim Smith, Frederick Waite, Franklin White, and Winston Riley. all coming out of Chatola Park School, where we all went to school together. Bonnie Whaler was attending school at that time too. Marcia Griffiths was at that school too. So the school and the Boy Scout helped mold us now. But we didn't realize that everybody was going to turn out to what they turned out to be. So when we left Chatola Park Primary School now, some went to All Saints, some went to Kingston Senior, right? After All Saints, Bonnie passed scholarship, and he ended up to Camperdown. Marcia, myself, the techniques, and everybody ended up at Kingston Cedar, which is now Kingston's Junior Secondary, Kingston Secondary School. And then a few years later, you see everybody in different areas of the business. Bonnie wasn't really a singer in school, and he was a great dancer.
But he wasn't singing.
No, he wasn't singing. Myself too, because we used to enter the dance contest and at Chatola Park and thing. It's then after that, living in Trenchtown now, and you see down 2nd Street, here singing going on around, and when you go around, you say Neville, because we know the man's not Bonnie, it's Neville. We say Neville. I sing. I said, wait, Neville, I sing. Him say, yeah, man, they didn't have a name yet. They call themselves the Teenagers and the Juveniles. Those are the 2 names that they were going with. But they couldn't keep the name the Teenagers, because there was a group named Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. Right? And they decided to use the Juveniles, but then they said, but when we grow up, we're not going to be juveniles. So,
right, we got outgrown the name there.
Yeah, So doing that, within the Boy Scout, they had a band there, and Lloyd Willis, they call him Gitsu Willis. He was part of the Boy Scout, and he played guitar. And then we had Owen Flats Hilton, who was the lead singer for the Jamaicans, was in Boy Scout too. So the Boy Scout movement really groomed all of us and get us ready, right? Now we start to go over into the professional side now of the entertainment business. So I formed a new group named the Coasters, because harmonica alone can't do it if you want to hit the big stage at Caravan Regal Theatre. So we started, it's a dance group now, and I was affiliated to the Mighty Vikings band, right? Because I was a member of the Mighty Vikings fan club. So we were associated with Mighty Vikings band at Winston Chinquy, and what's the name of the guy that run the sound system here? He's the nephew of what's the name of the top sound system in Florida here, man? I can't soon tell you, man. I see Jamus, I big him up all the time.
Oh, okay. The
China guy, man. Yeah, right. And he's the nephew of Winston Chinquy. Waggy T. Waggy T is the nephew of Winston Chinquy. So I learned a lot from Winston Chinquy, and the fact that now we work associated with them, we get opportunities to dance at Sombrero Club, at Carib Theatre, Regal Theatre, Dingo Club, and all over the place, And that gave us the big start there. And then we realized now we can't just dance alone now, because James Brown came to Jamaica. And out of that concert we watched, they formed a group named James Brown 4, which included Carl Anthony, right, was a part of that group. So they were a dance group doing all the James Brown move. So we copied that now. Then came another group named the Fabulous Flames, with Light Loving there, and Rick. And they were singing now, because they came up, beside dancing, they came with a song, Leo, and it was mashing up the charts. So we said, well, we have to start sing. So we started to observe the Temptations, because they do a lot of moves, and James Brown. We imitated them, and we started there, and then we started getting all the shows until I went overseas. And when I went overseas now, in Wisconsin, right?
What a place to go.
Went to actually Minnesota, but we crossed the border, and every Thursday night I go over to a club named Rainbow Gardens, where a band plays every weekend. And one day, one weekend, the lead singer for the band was sick. Couldn't sing. And somebody went up and tell him that them have a guy from Jamaica, who was a fantastic singer. They didn't tell me anything, All of a sudden, I see a guy walk up on stage, and stop the music. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a big surprise here. We have somebody from the Caribbean. No, this is 1968. and it's Wisconsin. I was the only black person inside it. So it's from the Caribbean. I said, everybody looking at me.
I must you.
Yeah, and say, who's going to do some songs for us? And I said, wow, So they called me around the back and was going through the songs. I picked some James Brown song, some Temptations, Get Ready, and all that stuff. And Wilson Pickett, when the guy asked me what key, I didn't know what key to tell him. But they found a key and a song and sang. And believe you me, I went up there and I did 2 songs. And the people them shouting at the 4, I ended up doing 6.
Wow.
And the place tear down. And then everybody, you see the picture inside the book, they were on the stage, right? And then the guy gave me a contract. The band leader gave me a contract for the band. I was earning $150 a week. But $150,
singing in the band.
Yeah. $150 a week in 1968.
Yeah,
you know how much flag shoes I buy? Well, see a picture of my Boy Scout there, and Scout mission I went up on, right? So I really got the start from there, to go heavily into the music business. Plus my Scoutmaster was a music teacher, right? Everybody knew my Serby. His name was Robert Blackman, and he plays the organ at the Moravian Church, right? And the other church, Presbyterian Church, was out at North Street. So that's where I learned a lot of music thing there. And then, so it gave me the push start. And then from an artist, then I moved up into, like I said, road manager, tour manager. You go up the ranks from one to the other, So it was like a process over the years. And I got the opportunity. The first group I actually managed really was the Mighty Diamonds when they were signed to Virgin Records, when they had those hit songs, Right Time and everything. And I took
that's the first group you officially managed?
Managed, yes. I took them to England. And I took the Revolutionaries from Channel 1. But
hold on. How did that come about? How did you end up being... Because they're signed to a major label, so how did you end up being your manager?
Well, what happened is Ken Williams, right, who was in New York at the time, he was a top DJ there, and he was doing a lot of shows. So he wanted them to come up for a show at Hunter's College. So I went down to Jamaica, and he said, when I go down, I must check them out and realize it's my schoolmates, Tabby. You know, it's Boy Scout troop. So it was easy to get with them. They didn't have a manager then.
And you knew their music?
Yeah, yes, because the music was played in New York, but I knew them. I knew 2 of them.
Right.
From way before they started singing.
Right. But you didn't know they were the Mighty Diamonds.
Until when I
wow.
realized that's them, Wow. So it was easy to deal with them. So we took them up to New York and they did a fantastic show. A matter of fact, I think their shows moved concert out of clubs with 2 column speaker into Hunter's College, where you have a PA system, and it was a massive show.
Wow.
Right there and then. And then I started managing them. So when I went down to Jamaica now, and they had just signed with Virgin Records. That's how I met Richard Branson and all those people.
Right.
And then we were going to England to promote the album. So I decided I'm going to take the band that actually record the songs them at Channel 1, which was the Revolutionaries, with Sly Dunbar and bass, and Collins, and Lloyd Parks, and we just put the band together, rehearsed, and we went off to England.
Wow.
And listen, man, we created... Everybody has been hearing about this Sly Dunbar. I've never seen him. And Sly had been playing drums from he was about 14,
Wow.
Right. So when we took him to England, the bandstand was full of musicians with tape recorders, taping his drum rolls.
Wow.
Guys were lying, even Drummy Zebi from Aswad, the one that passed away last year. He was lying there, a little 14-year-old boy, lying there with a cassette, trying to tape in Sly's roll, because they hear some kind of roll.
And he was 14 years old?
No, he started
at 14.
At 14, okay. Right. When he came to do 1973 at the Apollo, he was about 14 years away. So, he was still a teenager then.
Wow.
But he was just a fantastic drummer. He was a creative drummer.
You mentioned the Apollo just now. Weren't you on that Apollo stage one time I performed to?
Yeah. That's what I'm coming to know, right? We did 21 shows in 1 week.
Yeah.
7 days, 3 shows a day, 4, 8, and 12.
Wow.
Right, each night. So when we were over there performing, that time they brought the band up from Jamaica. What Lloyd Parks band? Can't remember what the name was at the time. He used to play up Reddit's Road in the club. And it had Ranche, Sly and Drums, Ansel Collins, Dougie Radbryan, you know, and so on. And while we were performing at the Apollo, Johnny Nash, who was called the king of reggae then, before Bob, right? He was covering a lot. You know, he sang over Cupid, it was a hit. And he did over some of Bob Marley's song, which was a hit too.
Right.
So he was getting a lot of airplay.
Right.
You know, Jamaican artists wasn't getting major airplay, you know.
Right.
So Johnny Nash had Guava Jelly and some I Can See Clearly, and all these songs hit. And he was scheduled to perform on Soul Train. Right? Now, nobody knew about reggae, how to dance reggae in America.
Right.
So Don Cornelius, who runs the program, Johnny Nash, and the CBS vice president for black music, Logan Westbrook, came over to the Apollo because they heard that there's a Caribbean show over there and they have people, dancers on the show. And they came over there and watched the show, and it was a journalist from Jamaica named G. Fitzbartley, who was writing for US Magazine, brought them into the picture. And they came over when they saw us performing at the Apollo. Then they came backstage and said to us, you know, they would like us to come to California, you know, to perform with Johnny Nash on Soul Train to show America how to dance reggae. I mean, Soul Train was the #1 show during that era. Everybody wait till that Saturday to watch Soul Train.
Don Cornelius.
And here we are now going over to dance on Soul Train, you know, and it was a fantastic event, you know. When I came back over to New York, I was like a star walking around New York as everybody was watching.
They saw you on TV.
Yeah. So you had Soul Train. I said, that's the guy that's on Soul Train. And then I got a regular job there, flying back on the weekends and performing on it, you know, and so on. And it was a great opportunity for me.
Wow. Yeah, so I don't think there's a person alive, and I see people in here saying knowledge, great story. Large up Karamawi 9, Julian Lee, Sir Clive Davidson, everybody in here, Winston, Stan Smith, Tanya.
Stan Smith is my good friend from New York. That journalist?
Yeah,
man. Yeah, he has been around me. And he can authenticate a lot of the stuff. That
well, I mean, you got receipts. It's. I feel like sometimes in our lives, you know. Sometimes some people say, yeah, you kind of do, you know, your trajectory, where you're going, how it's gonna go. Some people say no, and then some people they know. The fact that you've maintained records of stuff, right? And I'm sure at that point in time, you probably weren't thinking about 40, 50 years on the road, I'm gonna write a book. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna need to call upon this documentation. But I just feel like it's almost a divine thing, knowing without knowing what your future trajectory is going to be. Because when I see you pull up the stuff that you do, and the one thing I see people commenting here, nobody questions the legitimacy of a Copeland Forbes story. You know, when I don't know how you do it. Me can't remember what happened 3 days ago, and your stories are as graphic and as explicit, as poignant as it was then. And I said to myself, Jano, let me ask you this. This book is dedicated to Miss Lillian Forbes.
Yeah.
Mom Dukes, right?
Right.
A lot of times when we see people, I feel like, especially a man, you see a man, you see mom, you see what, especially as a man going on the right path, you see mom. Because that's the influence more than anything else. That is sometimes the disciplinarian, but for the most part, especially from our culture, we see mom. Talk to me a little bit about Mrs. Lillian Forbes.
Well, first, she's Cuban by birth, right? Santiago de Cuba. That's where I learned my Spanish. You know, when I was going to school, I get 95 with a Spanish. I'd never been to a Spanish class. And everybody was wondering, how could I get that? But she taught me, you know, self-taught at home. You know, we had a family of 12 children. And she was like the mother and the father, right? My mom, we lived in Jonestown at the time. You know, and my mom got married to my father, but he was one of them wild ones out there, you know. Every time he comes to pay a visit to the house, my mother would get pregnant, you know. When my mother got down to line and have a baby, they said, okay, Mrs. Forbes, see you next year. And she was back there, you know. So as the family started to expand in numbers, you know, we had to move from Jonestown and head west over into Ghost Town. Now, Ghost Town now was the area where the street is just dirt. It's not concrete.
Right.
You know?
And this is Kingston all.
Yeah, but this is between now Trenchtown and Jonestown now. Right. In that area, you know, the Eptones, Toots and them lived up in that area. But the street is just dirt, you know. The bathroom is outside in the square, and you have to stand up with the rag on your backboard, you know, wait to get a shower and thing. Them time they spit toilet, you know, and thing. But mother didn't stay there long, you know, because with the we were expanding in numbers, plus you know, that we are associated with so many different organizations, right? So we had to move, and we moved and went into Trenchtown, right at Greenwich Street, across from Trenchtown Comprehensive Street, right at 8th Avenue, right. And then during that time, now I remember when His Majesty came to Jamaica, right, and I was selected to be his official car door opener to travel with him, you know, during his visit.
His Imperial Majesty.
His Imperial Majesty. The man can't tell me about Selassie. I can't meet the man and travel with the man. I'll show you the picture that we've done. It's in the book too. Right?
Hold on.
You know?
So when you lock the Copeland, you can't be, you're not supposed to rest.
No, it was a great experience for me then, you know, because living in Trenchtown now, and at night, the car, we have to up at King's House until everything is finished. And at night, one of the Governor General cars and would drop me home. So people would gather outside at Clock Circle or by Greenwich Street, figuring that them going to see His Majesty or Lulu, the dog. Because His Majesty came with a little chihuahua, you know, a little dog named Lulu. You know, and everybody's gathering around there, you know, to see if they're going to see any of them and so on. So it was a great experience for me, you know, traveling with His Majesty, seeing him. Because I was at the airport when he landed, and I can tell you something. That was an experience that I don't know how they're going to document into a movie. Because we're going to documentary of my book, you know. Right. But really and truly, you see, the day before he arrived, people were walking from all Westmoreland to come to the airport, Palisades Airport, you know. And that day, we rehearsed all the stuff we had to do. And I tell you, rain was falling heavy that day. You know, the waving gallery was packed. And rain was falling like crazy. And people just stood there in the rain. And as soon as they announced that the plane is coming in and it popped out of the cloud, for some reason rain just stopped. The sun come out. And then when they see the plane coming in, and yes, when the plane touched down, and the pilot opened the window and put out an Ethiopian flag. Let me tell you something. I've never seen what I saw. People jump over the waving gallery, right, and run out on the tarmac
to the plane.
The plane is coming in slowly, the taxi in, and people are out there like crazy. Thousands of people. When the plane finally stopped, our guard of honor that all the official things that was rehearsed had to be abandoned because there were people with all chillum pipes sitting against the plane wheeling up. I remember now, you know, 2 years later I went to work into civil aviation out there. And it's when I realized the amount of aviation fuel that's underneath the ground. So almost a miracle. You know,
blew up out there.
Yeah. Because a man sitting against the plane with chalice, you know, and it blew up. And we held hands. The commander said we should just forget about the guy, hold hand to keep back the crowd. His Majesty came to the door and looked out, you know, and uproar. Uproar, and he went back in. He went back in for about half an hour, 40 minutes. You know, and it's when Mortimer Planner came up the stairs, right, and went in. Then after a few minutes, he came out, and all the official duties had to be abandoned, right? The guard of honor and the gun salute and thing, and just jump in the car. And they said, okay, let's jump in the car in the motorcade. The motorcade was going about 60, 70 miles an hour from that airport. I never seen man ride bicycle so fast.
To keep up.
Fixed wheel bicycle, you know. I remember when we reached Harborview roundabout, about 10 bicycles crash up. And the man him just get up and put the wheel between them foot and straight back the angle and just jump on it and catch you back by the time we reach Cement Company. And the parade come across Harbour Street, come through the parade and come up and went up to the cenotaph, you know, up at the race course. And, you know, it was an experience for me because as a young boy living in Jonestown, we used to get teachings from another Rasta man in Jonestown. We used to start learn some of the Swahili, what are the Swah, what are the Wandalin and these things. So just to actually see the person who is being adored and, you know, I am looking him in the eye myself. You know, it was something I still don't know how to explain it.
Right.
But I know that I was with His Majesty.
And there is the reverence that they give to him. Because here's the thing. It's funny. Most people who will give you the most in-depth stories about His Imperial Majesty and speak about the wonders of him have never been as close to him as you have, right? I want to say most, not just in Jamaica, just international, all across the globe. When you were there, that close to him, did you feel the reverence? Did you feel did you feel all the majesty that they felt, that people hold on to this day, the second the coming of a king, right? Did you feel that when you were there?
Well, you know something? One thing I would marvel me until this very day, I never see him with no locks. Because I expect to see him.
Flowing locks.
Yes, you know what I mean? You know, because most of the Rasta man them in Jamaica was wearing locks, you know. I didn't see that. I saw a very well-dressed man, neat. Every time I look at Bunny Wailer, I always think of His Majesty.
Wow.
Because Bunny Wailer, same size in body. And Bunny Wailer is just neat, you know, white outfit and so on, you know. So I always look at it and I remember seeing His Majesty for the first time. A very sharp man, very neat man, you know, and it just to be that close to him was something overwhelming.
Wow.
Because until this very day,
no
Rasta man come to me all the time and say, so when you see him,
when
him look like? I say, a man. You know, I say, a man, you know. This thing where I hear somebody talk about, they see when they wave a man say nail in that cross, nothing no go so, right? The man have no nail in him hand. Me don't know where them get that myth from. You see what I mean? You know, when I see them thing, I have to laugh.
Yes, I have to laugh it off.
Yeah. And whereas of all, that day when he was trying, he was wearing a white gloves.
Jano, people see what they want to see.
Yeah, and say what they want to say.
And say what they want to say.
You know, but it was a real honor for me. You know what I mean? And I get that opportunity to be like the official card opener for him. I did it for...
How comes? That there are many jobs that people have gotten in their lives. Many blessings that have been bestowed upon people throughout their lives. How did you become the official card door opener for His Imperial Majesty?
Because now I come into it now as a Boy Scout. Right, and I was a Queen Scout with the see there, a Boy Scout.
Yeah,
a Queen Scout with the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award.
Cool, man. Look at all the badges.
Yeah. So the point is that Colonel Efford, who came from Buckingham Palace down to Jamaica to make sure everything is in order, and he wanted me to be the official card opener for Her Majesty car, which is Princess Margaret, who represented the Queen. You know, so we rehearsed for weeks. I mean, that was the first time I fly in a plane.
Wow.
You know, right? We fly to Montego Bay, go to rehearsal and come back, you know, and so on. You know?
Starting.
Yeah. So that started it. And the minute I started doing that, every royal family that come to Jamaica, I did it for Princess Margaret. I did it for the Queen mother. When Duke of Edinburgh came here, 1966, to open the National Arena and the Olympic Games. I did it for him. And then I was even rehearsing for President Kennedy, who was slated to come.
Right. That never worked out.
And then never worked out. So that gave me that kind of opportunity. So everything like that, you know, they would select me because I was even the youngest mayor of Kingston.
Jano.
Yeah, here's a picture. Here's a picture of it here, you know. See me examining the Guard of Honor. Right? I was 18 years of age.
Wow.
When I became the mayor for a day. You know?
Wow.
So and the thing about it, you know, all these firemen you see here, this is at the Kingston Fire Brigade headquarters. I had to witness when a fire alarm goes off, what they do, and I have to examine the Guard of Honor. Right? And some of these men used to run me down with them belt to beat me. Because what I used to do, when I'm at the youth club there, I used to slide down on the iron.
Right.
That the fireman would come
pull.
down.
Yeah.
And they warned us, don't do it because we are not trained for that because we can break our legs. So I remember before I went off to Calabar camp where I was voted, because this was democratically selected, right, at Calabar. And one of them chased me with a belt to beat me like crazy. So the day when I go over there now, as the mayor of Kingston that day, he was in the line standing and looking at me. I just said, but this is the boy I run down 2 weeks ago to beat, And here am I,
being
standing
expected.
in the, So it gave me that kind of opportunity to get things like that, And one thing moved to the other because, I did movies too,
You did movies too.
Yeah, my first movie was The French Connection.
What is the father? Luciano.
See, I have a picture of the movie here. The French Connection. You hear that scene in the bar in the beginning.
Right.
Doyle dressed as Santa Claus, and the next one just like selling hot dog. Right, and we're in the bar, so we in the middle there. So
Man, you've lived 1,000 lives, I tell you that much.
So I get all these opportunities, to do all these things, which bring me together now. And I said, well, in 1973, when the Wailers came into New York for their first ever tour to support the Catch a Fire album. This is after Bunny Wailer left the group, and then they're touring the US, but they brought in Joe Higgs to fill Bunny Wailer's spot in the group. Joe Higgs was the person who actually trained them, in harmony structure and groomed them, And then I was taken to meet Bob down at the Chelsea Hotel at 23rd Street in Manhattan, right? What's his name? G. Fitzbartley took me down there and said, this man is well experienced. He was touring with Johnny Nash, and he can help the group. And then Bob asked me one question. He said, "What month you born?" I said, "August." He said, "What date?" I said, "The 1st." And he said, "You're a born leader."
Wow.
Just like that, And then I decided to take up the leadership role as I going along, what I mean? And that's all of these things that's happening kind of groomed me to get into that position.
Right.
Because I toured with them that year.
Right.
And it was a great experience for me. So I have had the experience to actually work with the Wailers as a group and with them individually, right, as solo artists. I didn't spend time working with Bob as a solo artist, because by the time I was working with Peter, and Jimmy Cliff.
But you were around Bob though, right? You knew him. You had it's not the same relationship, but you knew him.
Yeah. A lot. And I was there present at quite a lot of things.
Sessions.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and it's rare to be able to ask somebody who's been that up close and personal. When you knew Bob for that period of time in his life, could you tell at that point in time that he was going to be what he became? Was there anything right there that made you say, this person is different from the average?
I saw it.
You did?
Yeah, and it's explained in that book too. I said Peter is the most erudite person, but the fact that he gets more formal education than the rest of them would, act in that manner. But Bob was a thinker. Bob always used this, and he had vision. And he's not just sitting there, he's looking beyond. And being around him and see some decisions that he made was unbelievable. Because when Bunny left in 73, right, Peter left in 74 along with Wire. So Bob was only left now with the two Barrett brothers, Family Man and Carly. Everybody gone leave him. And he decided that him going forward, him not going stop. So what he did, he just went out and get some music. The first musician he got was Told To Harvey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, because Wire left and went and joined Taj Mahal. And then he got Tota to fill in when they get back together in Jamaica for the Marvin Gaye show, which was a charity show. So they came back together in Jamaica to do that show. So Tota played, and then he got Tyrone. Tyrone used to play in a group up at Sheraton Hotel, the Caribs. And he got Tyrone, and then he brought in Al Anderson, which was Al Anderson actually came through Lee Jaffe, who was a good friend of Bob.
Right.
Right? And then he just continued the journey under the name Bob Marley and the Wailers.
So he still maintained the name Bob Marley.
Bob Marley and the Wailers. So it's not when the group break up, he was using that, been using from the original 3 people were there.
Right.
Even when they had their own label name, Wail and Soul M. It was on their label, and it was on the Tough Gang label to Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Right.
So he just continued that way. Now he had to get the voices now, right? Because Bonnie's gone, Peter is gone. So Marcia Griffiths now had a show at House of Chen in New Kingston, and she got Rita and Judy to come do some harmonies for her on the show. Because Marcia had a solo career long before she joined Bob. Them, you know, her solo career had been going way before. You know, Bob came to the show tonight and was in the back watching the show. So when they finished their performance, they were jamming some sweet inspiration songs. And the harmony, you know, the sweet inspiration have great harmonies, you know.
Yeah.
And nobody in Jamaica can beat the I-Trees when it comes to harmonies.
Never.
They are excellent when it comes to that. And Bob just saw them and he said, yes, you know, I think this is what I want.
Yeah.
And the first song they did is, baby, baby, we've got a date. And when they did that, they say it worked. And then Natty Dread album, and they did the Natty Dread album, and then it started Bob Marley and the Wailers along with the I-Trees, and that's where the journey with them started.
Wow.
So, that he started that thing. At the same time now, this was 1974 and 75. Peter started his soul career, right? And then he got Sly and Robbie to form a band named Word, Sound and Power, right? Which had Al Anderson, Donald Kinsey, Tarzan, and Wire, you know. But, you know, the first 2 albums, if you listen to Peter Tosh's Legalize It album, and you listen to Bunny Wailer, Blackheart Man, it's a Wailers, you could have called it a Wailers project, you know, because they all played, all 3 of them were involved in those 3 albums. That's why you said Bunny could never top that first album. Because that album had the Wailers touch with it. You know, everybody participated in it. Harmonies, playing instrument, Peter played a lot of instrument, and they all worked together on that one, you know. So they performed, they did 3 shows together, one with Marvin Gaye, 2 with Marvin Gaye, and they did one with the Jackson 5, and they did one with Stevie Wonder, right, as you know, the Wailers back together. And then after that, everybody went their separate ways and was concentrating on their solo career. I was privileged and lucky that I was able to work with Bunny and work with Peter. That's why I could know so many things that even happened before I get involved. And I would speak to them individually and collectively, so I get the true story, especially when Bunny left the group. You know, when people were saying all kinds of crap, and that's not the way. Bunny left it because he didn't understand what is tour support, right? And I asked him myself, so I want it, and I have him on tape talking too, right? Where he said, when the tour, you know, as a new group, record companies will pour in money to you to call it tour support. Well, after they did the first tour, which was the Catch a Fire tour in the UK, you got a financial statement. The company's going to give you a statement. You go through it to make sure everything is fine. So he saw the statement, and he said, and he told me that. He said, how could they, the group, owe the record company money? And it's not the record company work. It's them work. So it's the record company owe them. So he didn't understand the term tour support. And another thing that he was adamant against, now he looked at the itinerary. He has never been to these venues in the States. And he says he's not playing those venues because all kind of people go different. I don't want to use the name. People go to those venues. Right? Now, one of the venues is a popular venue in New York named the Bottom Line. And Bottom Line is a top club where record company people go to. A lot of Rolling Stones hang out there. Everybody hang out there to watch new groups. Him didn't like the tie at the bottom, not playing, not playing, So, I mean, the US tour, they were opening for Bruce Springsteen. Now to open for Bruce Springsteen is the greatest opportunity as a group with no name, not known in the States. And then you opening and touring with Sly and the Family Stone, who was the #1 funk group in the world at the time. You
can't beat that.
Right. So when you say you're not going to go there and play these games, this venue up in Massachusetts named Paul's Mall, they did 6 days there, 2 shows a day.
Right.
And when they played in New York, they played at Max Kansas City, and that was 14 shows in 6 days. 2 shows a day, right? For 5 days, and the other day was 3 shows a day. And they did 14 shows in 6 days.
Wow.
But that's a sacrifice you have to do as a new group come in. Bob understood all of that, right? That's why he just decided to go along. I remember I see an interview that Bunny did, and him say, "Boy, my 2 brothers got soft and didn't stand the ground like me."
Right.
So they went on. I don't think it's softness. They had vision and they wanted, to go along. And eventually I think they would have to part.
Yeah.
Just like how the Beatles had to.
Because there were 3 dynamic solo artists.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
3 dynamic, people inside the group, and eventually they would have to go separate ways, no matter what. Even if it didn't happen that way, it's going to happen at some point, because they're so strong enough, they, fantastic singers and writers, And remember, the group, they start out with, sometimes that's 7 of them, because when I saw them at 2nd Street, they had the 3 of them. Then you had Juna Brathwaite, who sang that "It Hurts to Be Alone," and sang. And then you had Beverly Kelso, right? Yeah. You hear "Simmer Down" and "Hurts to Be Alone." You hear the female voices in it. And then afterward came Cherry Smith, and then Dreamy Vision, who is Rita Marley's cousin. Feeling like when Bob left and went overseas to join his mom for about 10 months, and he came back, and then when Bunny went to prison for marijuana, he was feeling, and Bunny did some lead voices on some of the songs then when Bob was away, so Dreamy would go in and out. And even Rita sang on some of the Wailers song too.
It's you mentioned the dynamics of this band and these artists. From your vantage point, I've always felt like Peter couldn't do Wailers music. That's why that's why his stuff. That's why I agree with you and say they had to go their separate ways. The music that Peter released as a solo artist I don't think could be done as Bob Marley and the Wailers type of music, right?
No, because Peter saw things differently. You notice most of Peter saw equal rights and justice. You see that last album, Mama Africa. It's just me and him alone was in Nigeria in 1982, He was suffering from headaches from the beating that he got from the police, so he wanted to go see a bush doctor. So while I was in Cuba with Jimmy Cliff, we ran into an African artist named King Sonny Okison, right? And he said he's from Nigeria, and if you want to come to see the bush doctor, let's come. So we decided, the pioneer, to go to Nigeria. And we spent about 3 weeks, almost a month there. And it was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had in the mountains. Me and Peter in the mountains of Nigeria, up in Benin.
Did it work?
Yes, a lot of things happened. So much, it's in the book too.
Wow.
When we in Benin, and the Pope visited Africa, was in Benin the same day when Peter was in Benin, That was something.
Yeah. I feel like the world was making its schedule around you, Copeland. I swear to God, it seems like the world was making their schedule around you. Make sure I say it now happened if Copeland Forbes is not there, because somebody got to chronicle these things.
Yeah, I remember that day we were walking down this road and Peter is trying to talk to some of the people and them running away from us. And I asked him, where them running? He said, we are going to see the Pope. We have no time to talk to you. Jesus have mercy. That angered Peter so much.
The same Pope when my bun out and I know what them.
His people
are running up for them.
Yeah, are running from him, And that, we saw so many things, and he wrote the song, Not Gonna Give It Up, Glass House,
Right.
and Mama Africa. We just sat there one day and him just took up the guitar and start to put the lyrics. Them, you know, if you listen to the song, not gonna give you no. Africa is the richest place, but it has the poorest grace, and to me, it's just has its grace. That's why I'm not gonna give it up. I will be fighting till Africa and Africans are free.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and Mama Africa, you know, the title song, you know. So you got the inspiration and wrote them there, but that was an experience that I'll never forget because I saw some things that only book going to explain it here, especially when with that bush doctor, when we went into the shrine with that bush doctor.
Yeah.
The experience that I had there, right? That I must tell you, anybody get a chance to look at the Mama Africa album, look at the cover, and you see a picture of Africa on the cover, and a picture of a woman's head in the cover, and it has a wrap around it. That wrap was given to Peter by the bush doctor.
Oh wow.
In the mountains there, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if let me show them the cover of the thing again, because on a need for go get the book, I'm gonna say I personally think that schools need to make sure that it's on the curriculum, especially school of music. You're talking about the Ednas and stuff like that. It's an again knowledge, but it is a funny book too. Me still telling them in the drop a ground. What I like about the book too is I like how you do the chapters, right? It's like they're named after songs and stuff like that, and the captures. So I am going to just drop some titles here, i.e., some chapters, and you just elaborate. All right. Chapter 10 is called "Here I Come." Talk to me about that.
Well, Here I Come, obviously. From you hear the song, you know, it's a Dennis Brown. Right? You know. Well, I've known Dennis from he was 9 years of age. He was a Cub Scout at Central Branch, while I was a Boy Scout at All Seasons down the road. You know, so we grew up close together. I managed Dennis for quite a number of years, in and out. And I can tell you something. Dennis's stories can make a movie by himself. To be honest with you. You know, it's an artist that you can't vex with him.
Yeah.
You know, much time get me mad, but I didn't give that smile. You know, it just like, you know. Sometimes when he mess up, him say, "Boss, I should be whipped with Dennis child. I effed up. I must be whipped." And you just have to laugh, you know. But he was one that would give me heartache.
Yeah.
Also, you know, I mean, he lived in England for a number of years, and he have a show in California, and he wants to leave all the day after show to fly over on that day. So everybody was always on pins and needles if he's coming or not. There was a time in the book you say when I had to fly to England to get him for a show in Jamaica named Reggae Jam Boogie.
Right.
You know, and his Freddie McGregor called me, you know, Christmas Eve, you know. We had a show on the 28th. And from I send up the deposit and everything and give him 2 shows we had in Jamaica, I can't hear from him again. Every time I call, I can't get him. And Freddie said to me, "Boss, nobody know Dennis like you know. If I was you, I'd go to England, you know, because this was a big show named up at the arena." Right? And I started to sit down and say, I must go all the way to London to go for a man. He have a contract signed. I'm the manager.
So this is when he lived in England?
Yeah, he lived in England for quite a while.
Right.
He had a family there, his wife and thing. And let me tell you something. He was supposed to do a show the year before with Shaka Khan in Jamaica, and he never turned up. So here I have him this year now, and everybody's saying, I remember Louis Fraser Bennett, may her soul rest in peace, was going around telling people Dennis not coming. And when Freddie called me, you know, I said, boy, you know, so I just called my travel agent and said, book me on a flight tonight.
Yeah.
Flight leave at 10:30 for London, Christmas Eve. I arrive in London, Christmas Day, come like Christmas in London dead. I just jump in a taxi from Victoria Station and went straight to his house.
Right.
When I got to his house, his wife says 3 days now she don't see him.
She don't see Dennis.
So I just go inside the house and just take up a position in the living room and just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Wake up 4 o'clock, no sign of him yet. 6 o'clock, no sign of him. 10 o'clock, no sign of him. About 12:30.
Yeah.
I hear boom, 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 boom outside. Him did buy a 733 BMW.
Yeah.
I hear him say, that's him. You know? You see when Dennis come through the door, Dennis in a 3-piece suit, you know, trash with him tie, you know,
and
2 buckle of wine in him hand, you know.
Yeah.
Mommy, Merry Christmas. She said, it's after 12:30, so it's a new day now.
Christmas, God.
So they walking down to go down, him look and he see me. Yeah, boss, you there? I say, yes. And the flight leave at 11 o'clock. Flight. I couldn't get him to leave, you know.
Nah.
I had to call Barry G on the radio. He was a top DJ in Jamaica. And talk on the radio live from London. Then he start me talk. So when people in Jamaica hear me in England, and I say, yes, we are on our way. But we're not on our way, because then they say, can't leave that day.
Yeah.
We can't leave till the next day. You know. And I say, we're on our way to Jamaica. Jamaica say, yes, them know from me gone to England. Me coming back with him. I'm going to tell you something, man. We went through hell to get him into Jamaica. Right. We couldn't get flight. We get a flight to Miami and couldn't get none to Kingston. And Mr. Dennis, if we have a swimmer take a ton, we have to go. You know, we're reaching the night before the show.
Yeah.
About 1 a.m., you know.
Wow.
And on the way coming up, man, up Mountain View Avenue, I stop at the arena, see the light on, and I had Lloyd Grant and her partner producing the show for me. And I stopped there, you know. And Michael Savage said to me, where's the man? Mr. him outside of the car. He said, leave with him now. And go home. A million people come and look for him. You know? So this guy go up to my house at Forest Hills.
Yeah.
I just put him down and he went to sleep, man, and thing, man. And the next morning I get up early and carry him to the radio stations. Yeah. Everybody here then is talking live on the radio and thing. So the arena caught now. People heading to the arena. You know, say I had hired Trinity's other security in Dar es Salaam. And I hired the security, Trinity Security, his wife was running it. And you know, that night, Trinity arrested 13 wanted man, you know.
Chano. Coming to see the bro.
Him and big up fool. Every minute they bring a man and just run out handcuffs. Don't pay use the plastic thing. 13 wanted man, him arrested that night. You know, it was unbelievable.
So he was wait out, like I don't know so never come.
Everybody had come to see the ground, you know. He was such a loving soul. But he messed up and missed a lot of opportunities, which you'll see in the book, especially that opportunity that he had with A&M, you know. And like him, just like other artists, the mistakes that they made, which they didn't know, that they weren't actually signed to the record company, you know. Dennis was signed to Joe Gibbs Recording Globe. And Joe Gibbs Recording Globe signed to A&M, right? Yeah. Just like Luciano. Luciano was signed to Exterminator, and Exterminator was signed to Island. Right. But a lot of these artists don't know. That's why sometimes your artists say, well, you never get a royalty statement. You're not going to get it because it's not you signed directly to them. It's the producer.
So the person who you are blaming for your things is not the one that...
It's not the one. A lot of time I hear them talking about it, you know. They don't get this, but them blaming the wrong person because they don't. If you're asking for him a copy of the contract, they don't even know. It's when I was taking over Dennis's contract now fully, and I had to meet with Herb Alpert, which is the A in A&M, right out in California, and he sat down and he gave me the full story, and he said he didn't want to work no more with Joe Gibbs. So if I can get Dennis a good producer, they'll give me a new contract. But I had to get him out of the contract. It cost me $30,000 US and a 3-point override to give Jacoby, which Jacoby is a company from Florida here that represented Joe Gibbs, you know. And I had to make that deal to get him out of the contract. Wow. You know, because he was tied up in a contract that he didn't know. You know,
he made some beautiful music during them A&M years, though.
Yeah, man. Everybody. Dennis is one of the most loved artists, you know. And it's just a pity that, you know, what happened throughout his career happened, because he would have been... Bob Marley always talk about him, you know. That is his number one artist that when Bob sit down appeared, Dennis Brown, him listen to.
I think the artist that has been the most loved, the Jamaican singer, I'm not talking about the biggest, the richest, the baddest, to me personally, the best vocalist ever. But I think the most loved Jamaican artist ever was Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
Yes, I'm telling you.
I never heard nobody.
I've never seen him upset. I had a series of tours named Reggae Superfest, and he was on most of them because he's just a nice person to just have around. Him give me heartache, him give me ulcer, but you know,
love him.
Yeah, you just have to love him same way. You know, he was just an adorable person, man. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Mr. Copeland Forbes O.D. and the book is Reggae My Life Is. Copeland Forbes as told to Clyde McKenzie. I want me to tell you, it's a read that you need to
You
get
know,
into.
I'm glad you mentioned that again, because you see Clyde McKenzie, fantastic person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he played a great role with me because I am a very detailed person, and I write the stories, and he would just look at it, right, and he could just cut it down,
Right.
but it still has the same effects on it, you know. So I learned a lot with having Clyde on the program, and he played a very great role in the formation of the book, you know. He was like co-writer, editor, you know, and he looks over whatever I write, you know. I remember there was a certain topic on one of the chapters them, and he was saying, boy, I think we should change it. And I say, if God is for you, who can be against you? I said, no, we're just gonna leave it. You know,
It was going pop.
yeah, but you know, he made great contribution in the putting this book together, and I learned a lot.
Much respect,
you know, dealing with him and so on. And I have to also thank Joe Bogdanovich, you know, from Down Sound, you know, because my book is the first book for them. You know, Down Sound Entertainment, their own Sunfest and so on. So they opened up a publishing company, Down Sound Book Publishing.
And this is the first.
Yeah, this is the first book for them, you know, and thing. And
well, they step on the right foot. They're starting off on the right foot. Everybody, I've seen a lot of people here say they have to go get this book. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say, you know, I'm not exaggerating here by any means when I say it has to be in your collection. Dan B. So you say, had to love D. Brown, Sharon Kerr, everybody right now. That's Clyde said, I gotta go get this book tomorrow. We're talking about the chapters in this book. Here I come again. Dennis Emmanuel, everyone, my favorite singer all time, all genres. There's another chapter here about a band, of course, my favorite band, but one of my favorite voices too. And this chapter is called "Now That We Found Love."
Oh,
talk to me a little bit.
Yeah, that was Third World, and let me tell you something. I'm glad you bring up that too, because I have worked with 98% of the artists in this business, and the only artist who has ever given me a little envelope to acknowledge my contribution and the work was Third World.
Wow.
You know, I tell you, Third World.
And we're talking about the heyday now. We're talking about the days of the Willie Stewarts and everybody in the band.
Yes, right.
You know, everybody.
Yeah, it actually started, my association with them started when we did the first Reggae Sunsplash tour in 1985. And they were the headliners. We had Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaacs, and Third World. And that's when my association with them started, actually. And then that year now, we toured Europe, you know, and then down in South America. As a matter of fact, it's through them that I was able to meet Desi Bouters, who is the gorilla de facto leader of Suriname.
Wow.
Right? When we did a concert down there, not knowing that we were doing a concert for the gorilla leader in Suriname.
Right.
There, a guy met us in the Caribbean at Curacao and said he wanted to come to Suriname and did the contract and everything. Right? Capacity 4,000. You know, everything written up. And the day we were going down, the stewardess and everybody on the plane keep saying, oh, they would like to get tickets for the show. Everything is sold, all 20,000 tickets gone. I said, 20,000? So Willie came to my seat and said, boss, oh, you tell me that is a 4,000 seat. The stewardess said, 20,000 tickets gone. I said, no, here's a contract, 4,000.
Right.
When we land, I found that, yes, the gig was moved from an indoor venue to the stadium. So I was mad. I want to go see the promoter. So I see them send a car from me with flag on it, like Governor General flag. You know, I said, I want to go to the promoter. They said, no, we are taking you to the promoter. He's at the palace. We said, the promoter at the palace? The guy I meet in Curacao, do him look like him living in a hut? You know? And they're driving to this place, there's soldiers at the gate, like you're going into King's House, and I'm saying, wait. And then they carry me into this building. And then you see this man, the time was wearing military outfit now, because he's 85 before him actually take over as PM. He was the guerrilla leader.
Right.
You know. And then walk into the room and I see this man badge over his shoulder. with a rod. I started trimming like a leaf. And the man said to me, Mr. Forbes, I heard that you're unhappy. What's the problem? Can we solve it? I said, well, sir, the promoter came to me and signed that. No, he is the promoter. We signed a contract. Here is it, because the guy that signed it named Raymond Tom.
Yeah.
Right? There was no Desi Booters.
Right.
Is the promoter. And we signed a contract for a 4,000 seater. And now we heard that it had moved to a 20,000. He said, yeah, the first day it was announced, everything went. What can we do to make you happy? What would you want? So I just quote a figure and said, okay, you got it. And he said, is there anything else you would like? I said, well, we brought up some equipment from Jamaica and we had to pay overweight and things. He said, how much more would you like for it? And I said, probably about 3,000 or 4,000. So, okay, cut a check, 7,500.
Wow.
Just give it everything.
Right.
And then after everybody was from, we said, wait, this is the promoter. The girl is the promoter for the show, So, and then the next day he asked us to do a private one inside the palace.
Yeah.
And so on. And it was nice. And then we became friends. I went back there in 2012, and took the I-Trees and Beanie Man and the guy from Ivory Coast, Alpha Blonde.
Wow.
And we met again and he fed us nice and good. All of that is in the book, the picture of it.
Yeah, no, somebody's asking me here where they can get the book. Barnes & Noble, right?
Barnes & Noble and Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, once you go online, Amazon, in 24 hours, they have it at your doorstep.
They have it at your doorstep. Yeah. Make sure you go ahead and get the book, ladies and gentlemen. When we say it's a read, it's a read. Again, we're going through a couple of chapters here. We talk about.
Man, so I have to big up Third World because until this very day, I have them as number one.
Yeah.
Class they recognized my contribution.
Class act.
And I remember when I come in the room at the hotel, I thought it's something I did. I see Ibu coming in, Bunny Rugs, everybody. But I noticed Richie have a man behind him. And I couldn't figure out what was it for. And then they said, well, it's the first time after the first 4 weeks we can take home so much money.
Right.
Because what I did, you see, is 5 people in the group at the time. Garrett had left. And myself 6. I said, what are we doing with that tour bus that sleep 15 people, paying 12 to 15,000 a week for a tour bus? I said, I'll just get a motorhome. So I get a big motorhome.
RV,
the RV for $1,000 a week. Get a driver, $700 a week. So I was spending $1,700 versus $15,000.
Right.
So they were able to
bring home that money.
More money. So I did things like that. I got a van for the crew, and that's what we did. Because the longest journey was about 4 hours. So what we doing with that big bus?
Old tour bus.
Yeah, big tour bus with the guitar sleeping in the bunks, them a knapsack sleeping in the bunks, them, and you're paying all this money. So they were able to take one. This was 1987 when we came home and did Sunfest.
Yeah.
Sunsplash at the time. And then we went back out, and toured. And I remember I got them on a gig by accident at the Giant Stadium at the Amnesty International concert.
Right.
And they tore that down, at Giant Stadium. So it's like the fact that we did all this great work.
Right.
They became one of the hottest group. They played New York 5 times. I've never run that risk with an artist.
Right.
5 times in 1 year, and every show was sold out. The Pier, Radio City Music Hall, the Red Parrot, and all the big clubs
sold
around. Sold out. So that year, I remember when we finished in December, Cat decided to have a party up at his house. And he had a big party, man, not just Third World. The entire world was there. It was a
you can afford it now. Got some real money from the tour.
Yeah, man. It was good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Copeland Forbes O.D. Again, make sure you put the O.D. in the thing. Well deserved, well earned, well respected. Let me ask you this. We're going through these chapters. And we talk about the ups and downs. Some people do this thing better than others in terms of just being an artist, being a good artist, versus being, an artist you can deal with. Some people are challenges to work with. Let's talk about chapter 18. Lord, give me strength. Enlighten me.
Well, when you hear that topic, which artist it's about. Luciano. Yeah. Well, I started working with Luciano in 1995 by accident. As a matter of fact, I booked a show here at Plantation Inn. No, not Plantation. It was Reggae Cafe. But the guy I was working with who owns the plantation, and which was Larry Riggs,
Okay.
which was Bobby Riggs' brother, right? And we booked him for a show then. Went through the whole works, get everything together, and somehow he didn't turn up, right? Deposit was paid, contract signed. I even got Air Jamaica to be a sponsor, accidentally.
Right.
You know, I came up to go to one of Lady C award, and you know, she got complimentary tickets from Air Jamaica, and I stayed about 2 to 3 weeks on it. When I was ready to go back down, they said my ticket is no good. It was just for that weekend event, and I'm standing there in the airport, didn't know what to do. I see some brown skinned man talking in a corner. And then one of them go up to the lady and whisper, and then she called me and says, Mr. Pope, can you bring your passport? I said, what? She said, Mr. Stewart said to put you on in first class. Who's Mr. Stewart? She said, Butch Stewart. So where he is over there? I don't know him. Right. I went over, shook his hand, I thanked him. He said, you may not know me, but I know who you are.
Right,
you know, and I know what you've been doing for the music.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to be sitting beside him in the plane.
Right.
So while we're sitting there, he said he was there to open up a new route to Fort Lauderdale, right? And I just jokingly said to him, boy, I was here to finalize a deal for a new artist coming out of Jamaica. His name is Luciano. So, my wife loved that song. Lord, give me strength, and so on. So I said, how you think it would sound to say Luciano fly courtesy of Air Jamaica?
Right.
And he smiled.
Right.
And he said, that's a good idea. Right. And I said, yeah, and he wrote a note and gave it to me. So when I go down to Jamaica, I must go up to ATL up Halfway Tree Road and go to a lady named Betty Jo Deno.
Right.
Which was his assistant. And I went there, spoke with her and thing, and I got the okay.
Right.
And everything from her. It was so nice and good that, they gave me all the logos to put on for the shows, and and we endorsed it. They endorsed it, and we prepared the visas, every striking thing, and that's hope some of the people in Florida are listening to this, because a lot of people had the wrong impression of that whole thing. Right. When he didn't show up for the show.
Right.
People were saying, boy, they never get another deposit and thing, but he just didn't come. Right. I was up there, I was sitting down, I got the visas, depositor paid, everything. But I wouldn't blame the artist, I'd have to blame the management. Because the management decided to go somewhere else. The whole story is in the book.
Right.
That's what really happened. But I end up working with him now through that. Because the manager at the time, which was Fatis, he saw my position and he knew what I could do and what I could bring to the table, right? So he took me on and said he wanted me to work with them and stay with them and thing. And, I put all his tours together, I get all his work permits, everything about him and the growth was done. Even though I wasn't the manager yet, then, as a matter of fact, see the poster I'm looking for with the Air Jamaica logo right up there. See where my fingers are?
Wow. Co-sponsored by
Air
Jamaica.
By Air Jamaica.
Luciano, Frankie.
Yeah. So this was, his first show. We had to reschedule the show for 6 months later, 4 or 5 months later, and then he came and he did a fantastic show at the Reggae Cafe. Everybody was there, and so on. But I spent about 14, 15 years working with him. Even after his manager was out of the picture, I took over the management, for years. And I groomed him. I had a fantastic band leader and musical director in the likes of Dean Fraser, who was part of the team. And he got the Firehouse Crew, working with him as a special band and so on. So it was a great unit working with him. It's just that he lost a lot of opportunities that he had that could have been utilized to make him much bigger than what he is today. And he has to accept the blame for that. It's recently I saw something on the internet where he was accusing a lawyer. I know the full story about that, because I was in the darkness too. Didn't know anything about it until looking about a contract for him with another big label. And I got a call from VP that, you're crazy. We have a long-term contract with him. I didn't even know about it.
Wow.
So he made a few errors where that was concerned, you know. And I saw wherein he apologized. He put out an apology to the attorney. I know the attorney very well, you know, from Jamaica. And I'm glad that he actually did that. To
Very,
show,
very much so, yeah.
As a man, he stood up and realized he made a great mistake, you know, and he corrected it and so on. And we had had ups and downs things throughout our years moving together. I parted companies in 2011, you know, working with them through so many different things. With the book will tell you everything about it, because it's like a drama in the book, a movie alone.
That's the chapter that had me on the floor.
Yeah, you know, that one, you know, I mean, you get opportunities to have soundtrack in movies, and you lost that. Eddie Murphy called and wanted to do a song with him. You lost that opportunity. Jimmy Jam from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis called. I spoke to him myself. He wanted 5 tracks to put in a movie named Oh Still Got a Groove, and all of that just went out through the window. And like some of those things was really his fault, but it was from management. You know, and one of the biggest one was when he got the opportunity to appear in Good Morning America. You know, and this was like two weeks before our first US tour started. That would have given him a big boost. You know. And the management didn't tell him about it. And when I found out that, the management said, well, they're not getting paid for that. So, you know, him didn't want to go and do it. You can't pay if you get publicity. Good Morning to get your own publicity. That is madness. You know, so he himself suffered a lot that he had no control over. But then when I took over the management, a lot of things was happening behind my back that I didn't know. And I had to be finding out. And it just reached a point where I couldn't continue no more, and I think we split up when we went to Australia, you know, and but we're being friends same way. As a matter of fact, I have a big project coming up in Africa that he's part of, you know. You know, I mean, he understands. One thing about him I can tell you, Luciano is a very intelligent person, just that sometimes he makes some mistakes and do some things, you know, and I was watching him making that statement about the attorney and watching him make the apology, you know. And when I see him take that deep breath, you know, you know. But I'm glad, I'm really happy that he made ends, you know. And I spoke to the attorney long after, you know, and he said he's happy with the.
We need stuff like that. I mean, people are going to have disagreements and grievances and whatever the case may be, but it doesn't have to. Especially for grown folks, you know, there's no way that adults should be handling anything in any less of a manner than this right here. So I had to comment on it too, and I ended up doing a whole show on it because, you know, that's how we settle our differences. You know what I mean? And I hope the youth and the upcomers can learn from that too. There are certain bands and certain artists that their legacy is embedded, but their special legacies that it's almost some enigmas that people don't know too much about. You know, they know what they don't know. Chapter 9, Solidarity. Talk to me a little bit about Chapter 9, Solidarity.
Oh, yes, that's Black Uhuru. Oh, my gosh. Oh, we go back to 1981. Right after Sly and Robbie quit playing with Peter Tosh, and the guitarist left too, and the Tamlins left, right? Peter Tosh after the Wanted General Live Europe tour. And I went on that first tour with them because I was just a road manager in Peter, so I have nothing to do at the time with the politics in there. So I had free time before the US tour started, so I was on that tour in the Black Euro. Starting out with Sly and Robbie, you know, group with Black Euro was one of the greatest aggregation that I've ever seen. You know, and that was an aggregation I was so happy working with because Chris Blackwell looked at me, you know, and said he was looking for somebody to replace the Bob image, you know, and he saw it in Black Uhuru, right? So he decided to go behind them. I mean, the first tour, people were coming back with cars. You know, I remember the first tour, we were touring with we were touring with Kool and the Gang. When they had ladies' night and celebration. You know, and we are the opening acts.
That's the biggest band in America at the time.
At the time. And we are the opening act, touring with them. That I remember one night, they had a night off. Well, it was a night off for everybody, but the agency got us a small gig for Black Hero alone. So the whole Kool and the Gang band came because at nights, by the time they get to the venue, we are just finishing up our set. So they wanted to see the group from start to finish, and they came. This was in Sweden, and when they sat there and saw 5 people on stage sounding like a 20-piece band, they came to me and asked, "Who is the engineer?" I took them to Godwin Logie, our engineer, and said, "How did you find all those sound?"
Right.
They listened to the bass, and the bass sound like, it's rich, Robbie Shakespeare bass, you know, and Sly on the drum. And then I doing the MC at sometimes too, with introducing them and be like a part of the act. And when they watched Black Uhuru perform the complete show, they came to me. I remember Cool came to me and said, "Copeland, I love that reggae thing, man. We want to do some reggae." And they went back to America and recorded a song named Ooh La La La, Reggae Dancing, influenced by Black Uhuru.
Wow.
And that song became a monster hit for them.
Wow.
And I looked at them and said to them, "You see how influential you guys are, that you influence Cool and the gang to go and do a R&B reggae song that reached the top of the chart. So you guys just keep it together." Well, as you go along, they started having problems, internal problems. The intrusion of the wives then was another problem.
Right.
Because I remember they couldn't get along, and I remember the last year when that album came out, Anthem, Chris changed it up now. That album came out in 3 different jackets, Before
The Anthem album.
Yeah.
That's the first Grammy for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Came out in 3 different jackets, right? And remixed every time, because Chris wanted to get this one, different from the rest.
Yeah.
And then they went out and got the song Solidarity, which was recorded by Van Dant.
Yeah.
I never forget, it was Christmas Day in Jamaica. And they went down to Dynamics and just clapped the tune. Right? Man. Mixed and everything, man, and so on. And then he included Sly and Robbie. Like, if you look at the album Anthem, you see 5 people on it. The 3 singers and Sly and Robbie as one group. Yeah. And that year, they were having some internal problems, you know. And they were getting monthly retainer from Island Records, right? Whether they work or not, because Chris set up a retainer for them. So monthly, they can get some money so they don't have to go and hustle with nobody else and concentrate on their career,
right?
So they were getting monthly retainer. The fact that they had internal problem, Chris kind of paused the monthly retainer. Then he came to Jamaica. The album is out. It's getting a solidarity. It's getting a lot of attention around the world. And we have to go out and tour to promote it. So Chris came to Jamaica. He called a meeting up at Colin Leslie's house. And we were in the meeting, and oh my God, the meeting went whack. I mean, people got up and read a long paper with rules. Sly and Robbie cannot perform with nobody. Sly and Robbie cannot record for nobody. Sly and Robbie cannot this, cannot that, cannot that, cannot that.
Puma did that. Puma did that.
Yeah, she was reading out the rules that the singers made.
Okay.
And that's the Robbie shake there, sitting shaking him head and thinking, when he done, him say, "You don't read that, no?" He said to Chris, "No, Chris, you see that paper? It can work. But I want $10,000 a week and I don't play a note for nobody else. Right. Nobody can stop you to play for nobody else." So the meeting went whack and thing until Ducky made a comment that said that when they make agreement, when Michael go home, it changed. Right? When he go home and discuss it with the other half, it changed.
It changes, yeah.
Right? So they say, don't make sense continue the meeting. Make she come to the meeting.
Yeah.
So them abandon the meeting that day and say, we'll be tomorrow and bring her to the meeting. When they come to the meeting now, it's still going on and on. Ducky say, "My lead and everybody a black employee and thing." Chris just got fed up and opened up his briefcase and I said, "Listen, what's the point of arguing about leadership? We have work to do here." And him just so when you look, it's the 3 envelope of the payments that was delayed. And just a bam, bam, bam. And Ducky get film man and look on it. Him just turn to me and say, "Abdul, just tell me when the tour starts. I don't want to hear nothing more." I don't want to hear nothing more. Just tell me when the tour starts.
Right.
And a matter of fact, we left here without any rehearsal. It's England. I had to call Denise, who work for Ireland, and to arrange a place where we can get some rehearsal. And we rehearsed while we were in England before the tour start. And I decided that I don't want no wife come into the Europe. I'd leave all the wives in London, right? Because London show is going to be the big one at Crystal Palace, which was a Sunsplash. Right. And they were on it. So we went out into Europe and the tour was fantastic. I mean, we played Rock Palace, mashed down Rock Palace, and everything was. We got back into London, man, and getting ready to go over to Crystal Palace when somebody called me and said, run downstairs. Fight got broke down there. We said, oh, Ducky and Mikey. You know, I have to run down to the lobby. And Ducky said to me, say, boy, every time I talk to Rose, once him wife there around him don't talk to me, him turn him back for me and him walk and him can't deal with it and so on. And the tension started again. Well, you know, I realized that there's a problem. Is now we were on our way to Japan, but we have 3 shows in Hawaii to do. So everybody, we're going to spend the whole week in Hawaii. Instead of go back to Jamaica and then go to Japan, we have to pass that way. So I work a deal with the promoter to just keep us in Hawaii till we're ready to fly to Japan. And then, so everybody said they want to bring the other half. So I give them the opportunity and I said, all right, we're going to spend a week in Hawaii. Reggae wasn't popular in Hawaii then yet, you know, but everybody wanted to come to Hawaii. You know, Hawaii was a thing. So everybody who have the mother half, bring the mother half, come and thing. And so on. And, you know, I noticed when we in the bus, going down to the show, once a man sitting beside him wife, him do him talk, you can't drop a pin in the bus and hear it. You know, when that time you ever take up the mic and turn around the bus and say, gentlemen, it's not funeral we're going to, you know, we are going to make people happy with music. You know, the bus is so quiet, so. And then, so after we finish Hawaii, so okay, every wife must go home now. Every wife decided to go home, except one man come to me and beg me. Say, boy, I'm not like him wife come with him to Japan because boy the food and he was the lead singer and him, you know, him want him get sick and so on. And I said, all right, like it's one person, Miss said yes. You know, that's where I think I made a mistake. Trouble started from there. Right. You know, and it continued throughout. Even when we come back in the States, it got worse. We got to New York and Chris come and watch the show, and after the 3rd song, he turned to me and said, Copeland, something is wrong. You could see that vibe wasn't there, you know. And then we toured, and then we had about 7 or 8 days off. So I decided to let the group go to Jamaica now to refresh them, to come out back, because we have this big show now, Super Jam, at the National Arena that in December, you know. And it's during that time now when they were home in Jamaica. About 2 or 3 days before we were ready to leave, Puma come to the house and said to me, she just leave Michael's house. And Michael's wife tell her that him not coming back. I said, you mean not coming back? What you mean not coming? What you mean not coming back? On the tour now, he left the group. I said, I mean leave the group. So I jump in my car and I go down. I was living at Forest's and Meadowbrook Estate is just down the road about 10 minutes away. And I went down to his house. And the door is locked up and I knock it. You know, and she opened the window, louver window and slide. And she talked to me through the window. I said, me can sit down and talk it now. She tell me blunt to say Black Uhuru is a thing of the past.
Wow.
Right? He's not coming back.
Wow.
That was her word through the window.
She ain't open the door.
The door now open. I even asked her, let me talk to him. And him sit down inside and when him talk, she did the talking. And she just a boom and lock back the window in my face.
Wow.
I didn't know me stand up. They didn't know what to do. So I go back up to my house. And I decided, say, I go call Chris and make him know. By then, Ducky here. And Ducky come up there and tell me, say, boy, him have a brethren from Waterhouse named Juna Reed. You know, him have a sound. And him know the Black Hero song, boy, him can just put him in and we're going. I say, all right, me tell Chris. I'd make Chris Blackwell know. Because, you know, Chris, I get him monthly retainer and everything. I call Chris in England. And Chris, we have a big problem. So what? I said, Michael has left the group. So I mean leave. What, he's sick? I said, no, he left. What do you mean leave? I said, leave for good, he's gone. But Ducky bring a youth here, you know. And the youth can sing, you know, and him Junior really know the song and me run up about. When I stop, I hear nothing. I said, hello? Chris said, yes. Cope, are you finished? I said, yeah. Listen to me now. If it's not Michael Rose, Puma Jones, and Ducky Simpson, I'm not interested. Just said that plain to me on the phone. And at that point now, I realized that this is the end of it. You know, and we tried everywhere, but they weren't even nominated yet for the Grammy. When it was nominated now, right? By then now, you know, Junior came in and Ducky rehearsing with him and so on. But by then, when they got nominated for the Grammy, Chris wanted them to go. I didn't even know that. Ducky called me and told me that Chris sent 3 envelopes, right, with back think, this is what Ducky telling me, that they could go to the Grammy, but Michael didn't go. Michael got his Grammy in Jamaica up at Sonic Sound. I think his Clinton Lindsay bring it down. I have pictures of that and give it to him while the rest they got it up there.
Wow.
And then he just left and went solo, And I was upset because I saw the great potential in them as a group together. And that happened in 1984. Right? From 1984 till now, none of them has passed that level that they were as a group together. And that's why I said they had the greatest opportunity than any group, than even Bob Marley. We toured, beside Kool and the Gang, we were touring with Jaco Pastorius. We were touring in Japan with this, what's this keyboard, Herbie Hancock.
Wow.
I mean, we got the biggest opportunity. Right? Touring with big groups. They toured with the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Yeah, they did show with the Rolling Stones. So
you don't get no bigger than that.
You can't get no bigger than that. Nah. And the group just mash up. Yeah. And I looked at it up to this very day and said, I mean, they have not passed, because every show that Michael done, I'm still doing the Black Hero songs them. Right. I mean, if you're going to break away, I remember when Ziggy them started out in the Melody Maker, they were doing some of their father's song, but as they go along, them coming to themselves and have their own song that them do him have to do them father's song. Right. To do a branch. But Michael still did the songs. Yes, is him right them, yes. But the songs were created when Black Hero do some... and thing. And that kind of upset me a little, because I know the potential they had.
What they could have been.
They tried to jump the hurdles, because Wally Pop thing in the book. And the more chapter coming in it. And they tried to get back together when Jay-Z was the CEO of Island Def Jam. And Ducky called me. That Michael couldn't travel them time, them had a promise. He was out in the country most of the time. So him and Ducky was meeting up. Now them never talk, but them become friends now. Right? And Ducky called me one day, him and Michael, I think them in a Jack Crew place. I said, boy, Jay-Z want them back, to come back together. So I said, well, if you don't want me back in the picture, we have to get back Sly and Robbie. And we want to pick up from where we left off and continue, and start at the bottom. Ducky never really liked it.
And at this time, Puma had already passed away.
Yes, Puma had passed. Okay. So I said to them, it's going to work. They said they're going to split. Ducky said they're going to split everything 50-50. And they will hire somebody as work make for hire. So after them pay that person, then they split everything 50-50. Right? I've been talking to Jay-Z, feel good, everything. I set up a world tour. Right? I set up a world tour now, and my agency, Peter Schwartz, booking this tour. Black Uhuru together again with Michael Rose, Ducky Simpson, Sly and Robbie, and the tour started in Puerto Rico. I never forget it, And as it started going on, more problems come in, I remember asking Michael, where does your wife come into this? So she said, boy, he is a big man now, he can't deal with anything himself, he want to call her, and he give me the number, and I call her in Florida. And she said to me, boy, Copeland at 20-something years, then blame me and things. So I'm a big man now, anything he want, he can't do himself, I have nothing to do with it. Right. That is what was said. I remember that clearly. Right. But as I go along, more problems come in, because there was problems in turn, and then I hear the deal change, that Ducky wanted to be 60-40, and Michael said no. I was on a tour with them in Europe when I had Gregory Isaacs, and they just the two of them with a girl, and they did a Europe thing, but you could have said that the vibe wasn't there, because the man them do him looking at one another face on the stage. Ninja Man was on the show, and Ninja Man said to me, boss, they showed them in England, the man them do him look on one another. Only when Michael wants to spit on him, say, twang. His Ninja Man giving him out the England shows. And I was laughing, so that's all good time. When he wants to twang.
Ninja Man has sample man too.
What do you man? Oh gosh. So
Jano.
And they went apart. They tried a reunion again, but it just didn't work. And I looked at it. Ducky had a version of Black Hero. One time there was 3 Black Hero out on the road, Yeah. Because them get back some of the original man them there and thing. And, it just, it hurt me to see a great opportunity with a group like that. The sky was the limit. They would have rocked, because I see it with my own eyes. Some of the shows them, you know, that, I see a man come to me and say, if me have a knife, I say, we want a knife, him feel like cut off him skin. You know, because this music, black music, a white guy in Sweden, come to me, that kind of way, and I said, my God, these guys have it going their way. I mean, Sly and Robbie tried to help them out when they got in Junior Reid in it, but Junior is Junior.
Yeah, not the same. Yeah.
Michael is Michael. Yeah. Trust me. When Michael is in the group, when Michael in the group, you can see the energy. Yeah. You can see everything.
Yeah, different.
It's totally different. Yeah. And I couldn't understand how you can let go all of that, and just let it go through the window, right. That when you have a group owner going together, I mean, whatever it is, you're secured. You're getting monthly retainer from the record company saying I have to go hustle with people and all them kind of thing and so on. So it's a great opportunity that they lost.
A great one missed.
And missed. And I don't think another group will get an opportunity like that,
You said that, and I've spoken to have these conversations with artists, and you always hear the will there ever be another kind of a vibe. People talk about Bob Marley. I think you're going to have another Bob Marley, whatever the case may be. Let me ask you this, because this is a part of it that we need more than anything else before we can ever approach the topic and the concept of having another Bob Marley. Do you think there will be another Copeland Forbes? because when you look at it, there is from a management standpoint, from a manager's standpoint, there are people who dabble, people who do, you know what I mean? But do you think there will be another Copeland Forbes?
No. You know why I'm going to say no? I don't think nobody's going to put up with some of the things that I went through. I have gone many, many tours without a dime. Nobody's not going to do that, because I'm looking way out. I'm looking way ahead of time, right down the line, that I'm looking way ahead down the line, and I know that even though I'm not getting paid now, but if I don't do it and put the thing together, nobody else is gonna do it. So the pain and thing that I went through, I don't think nobody is gonna go through. I have a son named Colin, and Colin has been on the road. Colin has been on the road with me from young days, from Peter Touch days and all of my Superfest stores.
Yeah.
Him don't have the patience like me. I mean, he has suffered too while on the tours. One time him end up in a jail. Because him is a road manager, and a man come in at the dressing room and I take out the food, the man thing, and him stop the man, and the man thump him down to the ground. And him just take up a buckle and hit the man over him head. We realize the man is a policeman and moonlight as a bouncer.
Right.
And him, getting a problem. Him don't have the patience like me. So there are many people like Dewey. Everybody know Dewey, Alfred Reed, Teddy Ladley, who, I trained, my assistants and grew. My brother Patrick Forbes, right? He was like one of my right hand on my Peter Tosh tours and the Luciano tourism and thing and so on. That kind of the group. But for them to have the same thing like me, I don't think you're going to find that, because the tolerance, tolerance that I put up with. People ask me that all the while, People look for me and say, how you deal with so different artists who have different personality? I'm like, oh, you deal with a man like Al Chida, and think. So listen, you just have to study the person them, and everybody have different characteristics, and how to deal with them. And the fact that I was able to work with so many of the different artists with different personalities, it helps a lot, because everybody used to say Peter Tosh is one of the toughest man. Peter Tosh is one of the nicest human beings that I ever work with. When you sit down and talk with him, you learn so much. Him full of humor. Him and Gregory Isaacs. Oh, Jesus, kingdom.
I hear about Gregory all the time.
Gregory give me a heartache and headache. You when we get problem with Gregory now, to get him to the airport. Right? And get him out. Once him leave Jamaica, find things are going to run smooth and thing. And you try to keep a certain characters from around him. Because you're going to see a story in the book with one of them where I walked 10 miles to get away from a mob. in England at a place named Huddersfield.
Yeah.
You know.
For Gregory.
Yeah, because we were in London and we stay in London and go to do the shows. And it was the same Dr. Paul, man, Rhythm Kings was the band with us. I sent everybody up to Huddersfield. I went over the hotel, some incident happened over there where he was staying. I don't let him stay at the same hotel with us.
Right.
Because every town we go in, everybody I look for him.
Right.
You know, and thing. So I put him near where the US Embassy was in London.
Right.
You know, and so on a lease flat. And we went over there, we had to straighten out the place. And him left to went up to the venue 3 hours before him. And when I got to the venue at 1 o'clock, I see about 1,000 people outside. I'm here. The promoter sent a Rolls Royce for him, you know.
Wow.
And him say, now driving the Rolls Royce. Him have a brethren named Juba. Juba say, I drive him.
Yeah.
And me just want to get him go. So I call Chuckles. Robert Stewart Chuckles, where I work with Sean Paul now. I say, he was my production manager. Okay, as soon as them arrive, start the show. Don't wait on me.
Right.
When I reach up Huddersfield, 3.5 hours time, or 1 o'clock in the morning, miss thousands of people outside, and me, them I say, see me. When the Rolls Royce I come down, see me. I say, see me. You know, me see everybody looking at the Rolls Royce, me see the promoter. And him say, where Gregory is? Me say, Gregory left 3.5 hours already ahead of me. Him say, what? You're not here? Me say, not here? So when I know if you know, so people know, start to get wild, them start thief all the band equipment, you know, and run with it, you know. I see a man run past me with Dr. Paul, red bass. I'm going to put in a BMW trunk, you know. And them start to steal the Simmons brains and everything off of the stage and I run with it. And then it get out of hand now, police come, police start to ask, who has these people money? Everybody point to me and say, sir, I just arrived here, right? I don't know, I represent the artist. He left 3.5 hours. I don't know where he's at. You know, he left to be here. And hell pop loose. Riot car come and everything. And I see where it now, things get away now. I say, Dr. Paul now, come up and whisper and say, why yo? I say, Paul, what that mean? He say, you're on your own. I say, why? He say, a man coming out the dressing room with a shotgun.
Wow.
And when him crank it, the bullet drop, nearly break my toe.
Wow.
And them hear the man say, all the while them tell them I bring artists come here and them no bring them, what's going to happen now? So Paul just send the word to Rhythm Kings and say, why oh? And he say, it mean you're on your own, and this man take time I slip away.
Yeah.
The tour bus, take time I slip away. So me couldn't just walk away, so now, because the crowd surround me.
Yeah.
So me bend down now like me I tie my shoes lace. And the police was talking to the owner of the venue. So when people surround the owner of the venue, me walk back way for about 20 yards. And when me turn around, me just go up to a highway. And me walk from Huddersfield to Bradford.
Wait, about 10 miles.
Yeah. Because I see motorway to get away from that mob. You know what happened now? The guy that carried Gregory. Gregory finally showed up in daylight at the hotel. Right? With about 1,000 people behind him. Like Pied Piper. Gregory says to me, boss, when the man a drive, me stops the street light, me starts a peony wall upon the road. Me say, what you mean? Guess what the guy carry him go Leeds?
Oh man.
Originally, the show would have been in Leeds, but the venue was changed. And the guy that drive him didn't know. So the guy carry him, I go Leeds when he should have got Huddersfield. You know? And help up lose. By then now the news reached Birmingham now, which is the next stop. That Gregory never show up. In Huddersfield. So the Birmingham promoter now come up there now. For grab him now, for bring him down. And the man in front of Huddersfield, I keep him up there, for go around to the radio station, for say we are going to reschedule the show for Tuesday, help up loose and things. That's another story. It's in the book too.
And that's all in here.
Yeah, it's all in the book there, man. You know what I mean?
John, Sir Copeland, I'm going to keep you, but and I won't go through another chapter of the book primarily because I want y'all to go get this book, right? And when I say detailed, hilarious, but what I love about this is I think it's the only somebody said just bought it a while ago. Just buy it from Amazon. Sir Clive just bought his. It is, you hear stories and but it's always a story that somebody got from somebody who got it from somebody else. Right? In adverse to that person that was there. And it's not just a story, it's the way they're captured. And I can tell reading the book, even the stuff that's not flattering about anybody, it's no mal intent. It's just telling a story. Because even the way you tell it, I'm sure it could have been told worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
but it's just your story and your experience, and unfortunately, or fortunately, your experiences include others. So I implore everybody to go out and read this book. Get the book, and I'm reading from the back of the book now. It says Copeland Forbes is one of the finest tour and road managers I've ever known. Robbie Shakespeare and I called him Abdul, based on his Afrocentric mode of attire. His long overdue book, Reggae My Life Is, bears testimony to his vast experience in the music business. Copeland is an extraordinary storyteller. Reggae My Life is a must read for all lovers of Jamaican music. Thanks, Abdul. And this is Sly Dunbar.
Yeah, you know why they call me Abdul? When I'm on tour, I used to dress like pure African outfit, you know. So him, Freddie McGregor, and Robbie, them put the name on me and call me Abdul. You know? Yeah.
Oh man, I again, I cannot wait to dive in. I'm gonna put some headphones on, and you know, as we go through the different chapters and it mentions the different artists, I can dive into their catalog while I go through. And that's the thing about a book like this. I think it's great for your legacy. It is great for your story, but I think it is also very much beneficial to all the persons mentioned here.
Yes,
it's going to be a resurgence to a lot of people's catalogs.
And even people who are outside of the fraternity, not physically involved, can learn a lot to understand how the business of music is. Because I tell people all the time that it's 80% business and 20% entertainment.
Right.
So if you don't have a business attitude, you're not going to go far in it. You have to approach it. It is a business, right? And every artist should look at it from that perspective. I was just going through, right, and I found a picture with His Majesty here up at the stadium, right?
Wow.
You know, as a Boy Scout, you know. So, you know.
Hey, the receipts, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Copeland Forbes O.D. has got the receipts. So let me ask you this now. You've done this for so many years at the highest level. You ready for another 10, 15? You
know something? Retirement is not in my vocabulary. I tell you that from now.
Yeah.
Right? Because next year I have a big project coming through, and I'm going on the road under the banner of Setting the Record Straight. That's what the title of the tour is going to be. Setting the Record Straight. We've got lots of stuff are in the book that correct a lot of errors that people are posting up and talking about. Like you say, a man here, a man here, from a man here, and things.
Right.
You know, and I have the pictures, I have videos to authenticate a lot of the stuff too when you hear things coming from the people's mouth themselves.
Right.
You know, that's the kind of thing, you know. And if you look into the book, even the acknowledgement section, you know, people are marveled because they wonder, how could I remember everybody who I've worked with or been associated with, you know, over the years.
I don't know how
I mentioned them in the acknowledgement, you know. I mean, the other night I was with Jonah Marie, you know, who I met in 1986, and I managed her for quite a while, you know. And I had her with Third World up in New York when I was managing Third World, you know.
Right.
And to see her here now, and Ed Robinson, her husband, is somebody I've known for years. So I have to kind of lift my hat to both of them to see two of my friends together, working together for a cause. So John Marie, thumbs up for you all, you know.
John, I'm going to say an exciting book. Reggae My Life Is, Copeland Forbes, as told to Clyde McKenzie. All right, and it's Copeland Forbes O.D. Well deserved. Sir Forbes, I mean, we could have go all though, but I mean, I know you got to go home, but we can go. This is part one now. We can do part two. You good for another 2 hours?
No,
I'm just playing.
But just to let people know, you know, you may see my hand in this, you know, but I don't know if you know what happened here, you know.
Saw it on YouTube, but go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I fell off the stage at the Junior Reach show at Plantation in Jamaica, and I almost broke my back. My back, I was wearing a brace for a while, but the bone in my hand is broken, and it's not healing back properly, so we're now contemplating surgery on my hand. So this actually kind of set me back in a lot of stuff that I had to do for the book. You know, so I have to be kind here in Florida, attending doctors consistently. Yesterday I went and did a CAT scan, you know, and then I have to go to MRI and all these kind of things, you know, I mean, before the surgery. But I know I'll be back eventually, you know, full scale. And I really want to thank all the artists that I've worked with. Right. If your name is not in the book, anybody who have worked and your name not in the book, just send a note to me.
Yeah.
It will definitely be in part 2 because
next
part 2
Yeah.
going full of more actions because there's more things of actions now.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I should tell you, I get an offer from NBC station, right, to do a documentary. You know,
Make sure you take it.
so it's gonna be something special. So if you're not watching, I wanna buy the book and you don't see a mention inside there, and you know you should be mentioned. You know, cause 3-4 pages of acknowledgement. Nobody has ever seen that yet. As a matter of fact, I remember Andy Basford in New York. I used to play guitar with Lloyd Parks. He said to me, boy, it's some names of people that I recognize, and he never even remember those people existed.
Wow.
But I had to remember them because once they played a great role, any role in my journey, I acknowledge them in my book. You know, so it's something that people will be happy with.
This book should be on everybody that loves the music, that loves the culture, that loves the country, that loves Copeland Forbes, that loves the individual artists, that love Clyde McKenzie, that just love Jamaica and our reggae and our culture. This ought to be at your coffee table. You know what I mean? Like I said, a fun read. Any one of them days when the rain fall outside and the skies are gloomy, and you need a day there, read a chapter. Them say a chapter a day. This is definitely the chapter a day book. You know what I mean? You read a chapter a day, everything's gonna be golden. And I know you have on your cast, and I know it's a challenge to do the right thing or whatever. So let me sincerely from myself say thank you so much for signing this one.
Yes,
for signing this one for me. I appreciate it so much. And I must also say, don't allow me nobody not get my book. When they can't come from my book, go ahead. All right. Sir Copeland, thank you very much, sir. Very, 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 very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a dope, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening. And part 2, we got to get to, right?
Which woman you said gonna be the next Bob Marley? You had said that?
A woman?
Yeah, in the start of the show, somebody sent a message, and said something about you had said a woman who would be the next like the best.
Oh, I guess there's a young lady that Copeland said was the next Bob Marley. Whatever happened to her? I can't recall her name. I don't think you said the person was the next Bob Marley. I think you mentioned the lady that sung with Bob Marley. I don't recall you saying there's a female artist that was going to be the next Bob Marley. And it's in the book. I'm going to get to the chapter yet, but definitely didn't say that tonight.
That's the thing. I kind of get lost here because I don't know which.
Yeah, I honestly think that's probably what they're talking about. Because when you were talking about Cherry, and
Beverly
and
Kelso.
Beverly,
They were part of the Wailers.
Part of it.
Yeah, part of the Wailers. As a matter of fact, Beverly Kelso is the only living one right now.
Right.
That's left. Everybody has passed on.
Right.
And I'm planning to have an event next year that I'm gonna have her being a part of it. She wasn't recognized a lot
at all.
Like some people didn't know that she even existed.
Yeah.
And if you listen to all those songs, you hear that female voice.
That was
Beverly,
her. That was her.
Lonesome feeling and it hurts to be alone. Simmer down.
Yeah.
You listen to Simmer Down.
Yeah.
Simmer Down. You hear
that's
that?
her.
Yeah, that's her.
Wow,
so we have to big her up, for all the work that she has done and the contribution that she has made,
Legacy.
And I must thank my publisher, Joe Bogdanovich from Down Sound, for the work that he's doing. Every time they start the bookstores out at the airport, they ran out because I went down to Ibu funeral and on the way up I stopped there and she said, "Stop, just run out again." And I have to thank the designer Marie in Greece, because the book is printed in Greece and the designer come from Greece. The same lady that does my Spot book from BP.
Yeah.
And she did a fantastic job, So the team was very good, and I have to recognize Maxine McDonough, who works along with Clyde. She was one of the editors, for the book went through thing, and we had a lot of meetings there and so on. So it was great, the team that worked hard, and so on. So after acknowledging them, I have to lift my hat again to Clyde, we had the battles, throughout, the journey.
I can imagine.
But it worked, it
imagine.
worked, and I'm happy, to have him on board with me and so on, so.
I say it again. I have never been so excited to go read a book since high school. You know what I mean? And it's just, when it comes to music as well as it comes to literature, sometimes we get lost in making it one thing or another. Either it's going to be entertaining or it's going to be substance, right? Instead of a merger of the two. And this to me is like, it's like a great album. You know, it's like a great album for your favorite band. It's sonically pleasing. It has substance in it, and it's just an easy listen. And the same thing with the book here. It is an easy read. It's full of substance. It answers the questions. And to be honest with you, we're not here to even think about, you know, what the story is. It is your story. Everybody has a story. And like we said earlier, your story encompasses a lot of things and a lot of people. So people are mentioned in it. So it's not even so much about anybody as much as it is your story. And listen, people are involved. You're in the people business. So people are going involved in it. My brother, I thank you so much, man. I thank you so much. And we said Barnes and Nobles. We said Amazon.
Yeah.
And
in Jamaica at Downsound Book Publishing.
Downsound Book Publishing.
Yeah, at 22 Belmont Road.
Mad. And this is probably one of the books that, if it's like we have New York bestseller, I got a feeling if you check the Jamaica bestseller, you're probably going to be on that list.
Well, it's coming along, you know, surely. I mean, guys, the people up at the University, all the students are clamoring to get it.
Yeah.
You know, Miss Cooper, one of the professors, she saw me at Ibu Spinner and she was telling me that they need it. Badly everybody wants to read it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's...
Well, nobody come thief my thing. Nobody come. Nobody come with it. Me we vex and go on bad out here. Oh my gosh. Let me just large up the folks that's watching and listening and all that good stuff. All those people watching on Jamaicans.com, those people watching on the Homegrown G Code platform. If you've missed it, of course, it's going to be on Spotify real soon and iHeartRadio and Apple Music. So we'll make sure all the information's up there. You can go get the book. You'll be able to listen to the conversation in its entirety. You can download the podcast and listen to it at your leisure. But let me tell you, say, Jano is all I gotta say. You need to put this in an audiobook.
Yeah.
You need to put this in an audiobook.
You know, I was coming up on a plane with Fab Five, and the keyboard guy said to me, "Boy, I hear so much about the book, you know. If you're going to put it in, what that form that blind people can...
Braille.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. Sydney said to me,
you want to read off of the book.
Yeah, he said, you want to read off of it and so on. You know. Well, I know people are sending in messages asking, if we're going to do anything in New York. New York is definitely going to be one of the stops.
Are you going to be in New York City anytime soon, signing books?
Yes, you know, and give them a little taste of the Reggae My Life Is showcase. You know, when we launched the book last year in Rotterdam, first time a book has ever launched in Rotterdam, Sunsplash in Spain, for 20,000 people.
Right.
You know, they say I've never seen that yet, you know. And
so the book was launched at a music festival?
Yes, at Rotterdam Festival. If you go online and look at it, you know. With Sly and the Revolutionaries as the band up there. Yeah. You know, doing it with China, you know, Light Parks, you know, Lenky, you know, and, you know, Bobla. You know, and Sly and the drums, you know. It was a very great experience. Peter Gale, I have to thank all of them, O'Keel, Dean, you know.
That's full circle, though, you know. Yeah, full circle, because you started out as a performer on the stage, then you were the manager managing the artist to the stage, and then you released your book, which was announced on the stage.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah, you're right. I never even look at it from that point. Everything is on the stage. Because even during my sojourn on the road, I do a lot of MCing. Yeah. I have some fans in Africa who just love the way I introduce group. They said I find a different formula and I always do it. So artists always, when they see me, they want me to introduce them, you know. I give them the energy of how to do it, you know.
And the book are going to some serious energy too. And I mean, it's for the coffee. I ain't putting it on my coffee table because I'm feasting somebody that got to eat it. But I'll put it, it's worthy of every coffee table, right? I'm gonna get me a dummy book, you know, and that look fake one them having at the stores with no pages in it. It's like a box. So I'm gonna get one of those and I'll put it on the coffee table, right? And then I hide my book. So so nobody can take it. Tony Carr, large up.
Tony from DC?
Tony from DC.
Yeah, man. Him buy one too, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Him have film one I read every day.
So a lot of folks hit me up, say, boy, I'm gonna get it. Tony Rye, I'll get film one too. I think Tony Rye's up there in Maryland. I'm gonna get to the comments later, ladies and gentlemen. But when I'm having a conversation like this, I can't even really, honestly, can't even go through to the thing. Angelina, but everybody out here, large up DJ lands in the UK, everybody that was watching Share the link so that other people them can get in on it. But the other thing I must say, and I implore, go buy the book. Go buy the book. Carvel, go buy the book. All right. If you don't buy the book and it's flying off the shelves in different cities, wherever, then maybe Copeland going to have to come to your city. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So he going to have to come to your city to do something. So Sir Forbes, this is one for the books. This is one for the ages. Like I said, a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a long time. Worth the wait. The book itself is worth the wait. Can't wait for part 2. But in the meantime, it's a lot of stuff in here that I gotta get into.
Yeah. When you go through it, I tell you, I have a friend who is was a promoter for the Midwest Festival in Ohio. He's now a Peace Corps worker in Jamaica named Packy Malley.
Right.
And he sent me emails to tell me that at nights, when it lights out, he has his cell phone light under the blanket. Because he can't stop reading it.
It's a page turner.
Yeah, but have to continue reading it and so on, you know. So, no, it's like when they start, they can't stop. They just don't want to stop. I mean, Sister
it's familiarity to, you know, it has some, here's the thing that makes this book special for us. Diaspora, Jamaicans, lovers of reggae. And that's why I say everybody ought to go get the book. I can't say it enough. It's because those people like to read, listen to music, whatever the case may be. You're listening to something, but with this, as you're reading the book, there's something in it that's going to resonate personally to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a personal touch. It's going to be, whether it's going to be your favorite artist. There's something in here. It is Copeland's story. It's Copeland's book, but your favorite artist is going to be mentioned in here. And once you see your favorite artist's name, then you're going to go through and you're going to try to read that. And so I'm like, damn, I heard that, but I didn't know it was true, or I didn't know that, or whatever. And it's so many. We're talking about how many chapters in the book? Let me tell you real fast since I have it in front of me. Don't bad mind me. 22 chapters.
So when I tell you, so originally it was 27 chapters. But we say too thick,
Clyde
So
scale it up.
yeah, we kind of cut down and leave some for part 2, because we can't have everything that's gone out. So, so I say part 2 is going to be something, but we want to get part 1 out there and saturate the market so people can see it and learn from and realize it's not just about me.
Yeah.
It's like
this is culture right here.
Yeah.
That's
what it really is.
This is reggae music in a book. This is the reggae industry in a book. This is the reggae business in a book. This is tour life in a book. Right? This is your favorite artist in a book. And this is the stories that the great ones who are not here anymore, it's probably the way they'd want their stories told, regardless of, again, how the sentiment attached to it. It's real. But like I say, it's hilarious. Again, if I'm going to put it in the category, the genre, it's autobiographical, but it's a comedy too. I'm sorry. It is funny as hell. Funny as hell. Sir Forbes, I'm going to let you get up out of here. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I appreciate it. My door's always open. Mikasa, Sukasa, anytime, anywhere. Just let me know. I'm going to cut this down so I can give it to the people on radio too. Some of the radio stations so they can listen in. Anything you want to leave us with? Yeah,
in closing, I just want to thank everyone who I have crossed paths with. Throughout my 60th year, I'm celebrating 60 year in the industry,
Wow.
And I've crossed paths with so many different people from so many different countries. Right now, I know friends in Australia are watching, in Thailand, in Cambodia. I've been to all those places and they stay in touch with me and that. So I want to thank everyone who played a role, even a minor role, and I'm sure you're mentioned in the book. Tony Carr, I know you did it, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, he emceed the second to last show for Gregory in his life. In the
Tony Carr?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So we played in Washington, D.C., and then went to New York. And that was it. Gregory never came back to the U.S. until he passed.
Wow.
So he played a lot of great role in it. So I have to thank everyone. I'd like to thank my family. Who have, say all of my family members don't get a book, them buy a book.
Buy them book. But that's how it's supposed to be, though.
Yeah. They
Support
buy
the
it.
movement.
None of them don't come and beg anything. They buy it.
Right.
And I have to appreciate that, they supported me and see the struggle, and my 910 over there, as well, they call it my other half, she put up with a lot of lateness to get it done, edit the stuff, keep things together and so on, So
no story in about she? Drop a story in
It's mentioned there,
Part
not
2.
a story yet, But it was a great journey, and I cannot stop thanking Clyde for his input.
Large up,
He really taught me a lot,
Right.
You know, and I learned a lot just having him on board with me. You know, he'll always be on board with me no matter what. You know, we have a left hook and a right hook, but
Right.
when we sit down,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
love.
things are there. You know, so
I dig it.
muchas gracias. Hasta la vista, hasta la huevo. Tenestilen, agua. In Jamaica, we say, gone.
Mad.